was commenting and criticizing the characters in a ghost hunting novel, only to transmigrate into the character she despised the most. What would you do? This girl is Lang Juju. Just because she once acted as a keyboard warrior, she unexpectedly transmigrated into the supporting female character of the novel, becoming a white lotus who always plays tricks in the dark. Mo Tan, the Black Lotus second male lead, is always an obedient little white rabbit in front of his sister, but behind her back, he is as vicious as a wild beast. But he is also a young man who yearns for love. In short, what does Ju need to do to bag him? Round 1. Take the initiative to attack. Round 2. Flatter and act weak. Round 3. Adorably seduce. But what she didn't expect was that her flirting failed and she ended up being flirted with instead. Thunder rumbled. The young woman in a red dress sat in front of the dressing table. A bright red camellia was pinned in her hair bun. She stroked her slender chin, frowning slightly. Did she become the third female character in the novel, Lango? Nowadays, it has become common for people to travel between parallel worlds. Any accident in life can trigger a trip to another parallel space. And the reason Lang Gu stepped into the world of this ghost hunting novel, standing here in a wedding dress in the middle of the night, was because she, filled with indignation, had written a review criticizing the story. Lang Gu was the most disgusting supporting female character of the year. The most ironic thing is that she transmigrated into this very character. Lang Juju was fuming with anger. When it comes to successfully infuriating readers, the third female character, Lango, could be considered the most successful character in the story. She was bad, but not the typical kind of bad. She was used to playing the victim, biting the hand that fed her, and stabbing others in the back while pretending to be pitiful and weak. Apart from pervertedly coveting the male lead, she secretly sowed discord and harmed the female lead. On one hand, she enjoyed the protection of the protagonist group. On the other hand, she pondered how to throw a wrench in the works. Clingy, gloomy, and impossible to shake off, this bizarre aura made Lang Gu feel disgusted. As cannon fodder, Langa's fate was naturally not good, and her romantic path was extremely bumpy. She was married twice in her life. The first time was agreeing to hold a fake wedding with the person she loved, the male lead Lu Fat Y. But before she could get drunk on it, the short-lived dream vanished in a thin air because she couldn't get along with the female lead, Mo Zhao, and even competed and schemed to harm her. Mo Tan, although her biological younger brother, was infatuated with his own sister. In front of Mo Zhao, he pretended to be innocent and kind-hearted, but in reality, he was a sinister and vicious person with a snake-like heart. Knowing Lang Gu's feelings, he conspired with his sister and pretended to marry Lang Gu to distract the demons. Afterward, the demons tortured her to death. Lang Gu suffered a tragic end. Ding! The system notification sounded. Welcome to the world of the ghost hunting novel. To return to reality, you need to complete the tasks assigned by the system. Task 1. Replace the owner of this body. Follow the plot and hinder the romantic path of the male and female leads. Task 2. Make the female lead's younger brother fall in love with Lang Gu. Lang Juju couldn't believe this hellish task. She paced back and forth in the room. What should I do? What should I do? Although she felt the villain was very cool when reading the novel, in real life, who would choose a psycho as a boyfriend? How can I make him love me? Thunder rumbled. There was a silhouette outside the door. Ziu Chimbo. Who is coming? Don't scare me. It's not the Black Lotus villain brother coming here, is it? There was a knock on the door. Miss Lang, I have finished putting on my wedding attire and am waiting for my fiancé. Du sighed and replied, I remember now. This is the fake wedding night of Lang Gu and Lu Fat. Why to distract the demons? He was gentle and kind, but a hint of melancholy couldn't be hidden between his brows. Lu Fui opened his mouth. Meow meow. Meow meow was startled and trembled. What did you call me? Lu Fui frowned slightly, hesitating a bit. I remember clearly that your childhood name is Meow Meow. Ling Meow Meow dragged out her voice and exclaimed, It's Meow Meow, it's indeed Meow Meow. But you suddenly call me like that, I couldn't react in time. Liu peachite chakil softly. Today is our happy day, so I should call you more intimately. The male lead's sweet words made one's bones go soft. Great. The male lead is setting an example, reminding her that if they're putting on an act, they have to go all the way. Peachite, she cleverly called out, seeing a look of joy in Lu Fat Y's eyes as he walked towards her. That's good then, we should start. A doubt suddenly arose in her heart. Wait, don't come over here. Juju knew that according to the plot, Once Lu Fat Y stepped in, the door would activate a formation. Lu Fat Y had already stepped through the door and asked, "What's wrong?" A surge of power had distorted the space where they stood. The invisible barrier in the middle was the boundary between the distorted space and the real space. Once someone crossed it, the area in front of the boundary would quickly turn into a solid entity like a wall, trapping both of them inside. Why did this demon go through so much trouble? The air between Lang Jiu and Lu Fat Y began to slowly ripple like rainwater flowing on a glass window. Silhouettes appeared on it, clearly the images of her and Lu Fat Y standing together. However, the entire background was hazy like fog. Lu Fat Y immediately chanted a string of incantations, so low and fast that it couldn't be heard clearly. Only the last two words were suddenly raised in pitch. Water mirror. Juju thought quickly, trying to recall what did the plot say. Du hurriedly untied the jade pendant at her waist. Use this as long as you find the exact spot, it can unlock it. The water mirror was once used by the ancient demon king. It gradually gained consciousness after being soaked in demonic energy for a long time, possessing the ability to shift space. Lu Fat Y pulled out the Nine Heavens demon, catching Pagoda. The water mirror demon tried to slip away quickly. Lu Fat Y called out, "Let's hurry and chase it." Ding! The system's sound rang again. Task 1 has been completed. New task. Break the seal in Mo Jiao's room, so that Mo Jiao gets injured and loses her protection. What was task 1? That's right, bullying the female lead and causing sabotage. In other words, before she even started sabotaging, the system had already done it for her. The blame was already pinned on her. Lang Jiu wanted to cry, but had no tears. In the plot, after Mo Jiao lost her protection, she was almost killed by a demon. After that, if Mo Tan finds her, I won't die if I take the credit. I have to fix this quickly. Jiu ran after Lu Fat Y. You must quickly go check on Mo Jiao. Lu Fat Y reassured her, saying, "Jiao Ni is fine. I drew a talisman on her door. I feel very worried. I'm afraid Mo Jiao is in danger. Can we go right now?" Jiu was about to cry. This guy wouldn't listen to advice. Jiu screamed in her heart. Right after that came the sound of a fierce battle. In the distance, the water mirror let out a tragic scream. Accompanied by it was a woman's shout. The direction the sound came from was none other than the western wing room. Lang Jiu's teeth chattered, and from between her trembling teeth, she spat out a sentence. Mo Jiao. In the clouds, Mo Tan moved so fast that onlookers could only see a yellow shadow flickering in and out of sight. Anyone who harms my sister must die. He used his explosive sparks to clear a path to get closer to Mo Jiao, took off a steel ring from his right wrist, and smashed it toward the water mirror. The Nine Heavens demon, catching Pagoda, grew hotter and hotter. Facing the massive Pagoda, the water mirror stubbornly resisted like a desperate loach thrashing its tail, but still couldn't avoid the fate of being sucked into the Pagoda. Mo Tan began to free fall. Mo Tan hugged Mo Jiao and slowly descended from the sky. Jiu's jaw dropped. The young man in front of her walked over from afar, his hair tail swaying, truly a perfect combination. This is too much of contrast. She originally thought he would be a gloomy-faced person, but he turned out to have such beauty. Mo Tan and Lu Fat Y had begun to argue. I just went out to gather herbs, and something already happened to my sister. How exactly were you watching her? I repeatedly told you to stay by her side and not leave her alone. You, Atan. Mo Jiao's weak voice rang out. She lay on the bed, her slender hand pulling Mo Tan's sleeve. Mo Tan, whose face was full of hostility just a moment ago, instantly changed his expression and looked gently at Mo Jiao. Sister, does it hurt? Mo Jiao looked at her brother's face, and, as aloof as she was, she couldn't help but smile. Don't blame Fat Y. I'm fine. But I hurt. Mo Tan grabbed her hand, pressed it against his face, and began to act pitifully. Mo Zhao Gao get Duais. Pretending not to see him acting pitifully, and coldly pulled her hand back. If it hurts, go back and apply medicine. Do you still have the energy to yell here? She thought this child, Atan, was always impulsive and lacked manners. Mo Tan's long eyelashes drooped like a fan, looking sad and dejected, unwilling to stand up. Sister, I didn't mean to lose my temper. If I hadn't rushed back today, something would have almost happened to you. I told him not to leave you alone. Couldn't he wait for a moment? Is catching demons more important, or is your life more important? He even listened to Lang Gu's idea and ran off to get married. Mo Tang and Mo Jiao finally got angry. I told you, Fat Y already discussed it with me. The marriage is just an act. Why do you keep harping on it? She took a deep breath. How did our parents teach you? How can a family that eliminates demons and defends the righteous path have a coward who clings to life and fears death? Emotan was so angry that his heart felt like it was burning. He gritted his teeth and took 2 steps back. Lu Fatwai couldn't help but pull Mo Jiao into his arms, closed his eyes, and said, Jiao Ni, it's my fault, it's my fault. Mo Jiao's anger instantly turned into tender affection. She cupped Lu Fatwai's face. Don't blame yourself, Fatwai. You were right to prioritize the bigger picture. It's Atan who is too anxious. The two leaned against each other and began to affectionately express their feelings. Their voices grew softer and softer, eventually turning into whispers. Lang Jukju gloated as she peeked at Emotan, who stood stiffly to the side, his hands clenched into fists. If anger could turn into fire, at this moment, Emotan could definitely burn down this entire room. And she couldn't smile anymore. A salty and bitter liquid flowed into her mouth. She wiped her face and found her hand covered in tears. How could this be? She was crying uncontrollably. Juju desperately recalled the plot. Lang Gu chased after Lu Fat Y to the Western Wing room and saw the male and female leads showing deep affection. Knowing that her dream of marrying her beloved had been ruined, she instantly couldn't stand. She had to lean against the wall, silently shedding tears in a corner. The young man in yellow turned around and walked towards her step by step. His eyes were pitch black, smooth as a calm lake. His gaze fell on Juju's tear-stained face. He observed her, his brows slightly furrowed, and a cold, killing intent flashed past. Then, he looked at her with a half-smile. Miss Lang, having luckily escaped danger, why are you crying? Are you afraid to face me alone? So you're crying? You knew the reason now. In the original work, when Lang Gu saw the male and female leads showing affection, she would shed tears alone. If this Emotan thinks anything, it's over. Emotan asked again, Miss Lang, why aren't you answering? Do you smell the scent of death, with crows flying over her head? The atmosphere was freezing. It's over, it's over. Her body was out of control. Did the transmigration system scam her? Emotan, with a cold, deadly gaze, asked what she was hiding. She tried her best to force a bright smile, crying and laughing at the same time, looking at him with a tear-stained face. Sob, it's so touching. She simply covered her eyes, letting the tears flow like a flood. Through the gaps between her fingers, Ju clearly saw his expression. His dark, shiny eyes looked at her, entirely spelling out sick in the head. Emotan stood still and asked, touching? Yes. Ju nodded twice, her eyes full of admiration. If I were as lucky as Sister Emo, having a lover like Big Brother Lou, it would be so blissful. When will I ever meet my husband? Sob. Emotan frowned slightly, because praising Lu Fat Y was touching his reverse scale. But the cold, killing intent in his eyes seemed to be blown away by the wind, gradually turning into a playful smile. He slowly reached out his finger, deliberately touching Juju's lips. Soft cold. Juju's entire body stiffened as if hit by an immobilization spell, only feeling his cold fingertip trace from the corner of her lips along her lip line, finally stopping at the center. The movement was gentle, like an ambiguous teasing between two lovers. Lang Juju's hairs stood on end, thinking of actions right before a gruesome murder. What was Miss Lang trembling for? He looked up innocently, showing her his bright red fingertip. Your lipstick smudged outside, like a child sneaking food. Saying that, he smiled, like a youth who was both pure and wicked teasing her. Lang Juju was instantly terrified, sweating profusely. He added, just like a ghost I once caught. That ghost loved to lie when alive, and when it died, its mouth was torn apart by someone. So, Miss Lang, absolutely do not be like it. Lang Juju was so scared her legs trembled violently. Emotan then said, however, Miss Lang is both smart and kind, so after death, you definitely won't end up like that. Lang Juju grimaced. Was he intentionally scaring her just now? Beating the grass to scare the snake? Truly an eye-opener. The Black Lotus is indeed a two-faced person. Telling me to capture his heart is really too difficult. Since Juju transmigrated, her every move easily attracted the maid's attention. What are you looking at me for? Hurry and get more rice. Maida happily whispered in a maid B's ear, Miss has a good appetite. Doesn't she usually get bored after just 2 bites? Lang Ju had sharp ears, and her expression changed in the blink of an eye. Are you kidding? How can 2 bites of rice be enough? She called Mayday over and asked affectionately, does the kitchen use that thing to cook rice? She weighed her words, using her hands to describe. A steamer. Mayday was stunned for a moment, then also waved her hands. It seems there is a steamer. The master and servant looked at each other for a few seconds. Lang Juju laughed happily. That's good. Next time bring that steamer and put it on the table for me, so it's convenient for me to get more rice, and looking at it will make me feel more at ease. Every day, she tried hard to complete missions. If she couldn't even eat her fill, she really couldn't survive. She needed to eat her fill to have strength. She had to take this opportunity to train this weak body. After Lang Ju used the excuse of destiny to brainwash and convince the surrounding maids. She took an even bigger action, which was to start jogging around the backyard at the crack of dawn. Before dawn, the fog was vast. The bushes in the yard were pitch black, faintly visible in the white mist. Lang Ju was panting as she ran, and suddenly bumped into a black silhouette, which was the governor of Tai Thuong Commandery, groggily waking up to pee. Lang Ju was startled and almost screamed. The chubby father in front of her was indeed grumpy after just waking up. He rubbed his painful chest that was bumped into and roared. Who is running around blindly early in the morning? When he squinted and saw the person in front of him clearly, he stuttered in shock. Oh, my good daughter. The governor, who just a moment ago acting like an old man scolding people, immediately softened his voice, patted her shoulder, touched her head, his tone anxious as if he wanted to cry. My good child, did the bump hurt? What are you doing here? She replied, Father, I'm doing my morning jog. The governor opened his mouth wide, as if swallowing an egg, thought groggily for a moment, and smiled, extremely carefully advising her. Morning jog? My good child, your health is not good. Sleep a little more in the morning. Wait until noon when the weather is warm. Let the maids run with you, okay? No, Ju smiled, skillfully opening her mouth to deceive the parent. Father, a day begins at the hour of the tiger. I absorb the essence of heaven and earth, which will help nourish the body. The governor, just like all parents who are easily fooled by their children, felt relieved upon hearing this, his face full of joy mixed with trust. You run, you must persist in running. He glanced at Juju's silk pants and asserted, Don't wear this. Tomorrow father will call someone to tailor new pants for you, with small floral patterns to look pretty. Ju had a long face. Thank you, father, but I'll pass on the small floral patterns. The governor smiled, revealing his double chin, wrinkles appearing around his eyes. All right, then big flowers, really big red flowers, it suits my good daughter. Father will call someone to make it for you. Ju couldn't stop him even if she wanted to. Daughter, change into new pants and then run. And so, the very next day, Ju got a pair of pants with super giant floral patterns. She didn't expect Lang Gu's father to dote on his daughter, just like her own father. Truly very enthusiastic. These past 2 days without any assigned missions felt so comfortable. Under the faint morning sunlight, Lang Ju met Mo Tan returning early. The morning dew seeped into the tips of his black hair, turning into vague moisture. The youth's hair swayed, carrying a bamboo basket on his back, smiling radiantly as he circled to her front. Miss Lang, Lang Juju's, do panting heavily. When she clearly saw the person approaching, she sharply inhaled a breath of cold air into her lungs. Miss Lang, this is... His gaze left her face and stopped on her new red floral silk pants. Morning jog, she replied with a straight face, a bit nervous and flustered as she explained in one breath with countless fabricated words. A day begins at the hour of the tiger. I absorb the essence of heaven and earth. Ju was instantly tongue-tied. The Black Lotus laughed. Mo Tan slightly raised his eyes, staring seriously at her flushed face. Miss Lang is not a Lingji mushroom. How can you absorb the essence of heaven and earth? Why? Lang Ju embarrassedly explained. In short, there are benefits. At least next time I encounter a demon, I can run away faster. Mentioning demons, the look in Mo Tan's eyes instantly chilled a few degrees, but his face was still full of smiles. Speaking of demons, it reminds me of something. The time my sister was in danger, Lu Fat used a communication talisman to contact me. You once reminded him that my sister was in danger. How did you know my sister would be in danger? Lang Ju looked into his eyes, trembling inside, but still mustered all her courage to say, I didn't know Sister Mo Jiao would be in danger, but because you guys left an injured girl alone in a room, it absolutely gave others an opportunity to take advantage. She lowered her tone, finally turning into an embarrassed mutter. I felt uneasy and told him to go check, but he wouldn't go, so I had to tell him to call you. Emotan's expression softened a bit. Du even saw a strange glint of expectation in his eyes. My sister is not an ordinary girl. She is a demon-catching Taoist of the Mo family. Lang Ju retorted, interrupting. So what? Even if she is powerful, when injured, she still needs someone to protect her. In the brightening sunlight, he didn't expect her to have this thought. It seemed she wasn't that malicious after all. Emotan's gaze once again focused on the bright red big flowers on Juju's legs, the style that the aunties in the market liked the most, vivid and bright. She kicked her legs as if showing off, the ridiculously rustic flowers also trembling along. The pant legs rolled up high, faintly revealing her fair ankles. The young girl excitedly said, "The fabric was chosen by my father. Isn't it pretty?" Emotan looked at it with disgust. Looking at his back, Juju thought, was she overthinking? The Black Lotus is indeed temperamental. Scare me to death. Luckily, he was just passing by. I can't always be this passive. I must find a way to proactively capture his heart. Capture. The next day at the celebration banquet for successfully subduing the demon. Although she said she would proactively attack the Black Lotus, she didn't expect to encounter the situation. The atmosphere seemed quite awkward now. He was naturally unhappy. After this disaster, the relationship between the male and female leads had taken another step forward, reaching the point where just a glance at each other would make them smile. Mo Jiao's eyes couldn't hold anyone else anymore. Juju saw with her own eyes Emotan skillfully deboning a chicken drumstick and placing the meat into Mo Jiao's bowl. He habitually looked up at her, his eyelashes long and thick. "Sister, this salt-roasted chicken is not bad. Try it quickly." Mo Jiao carefully took a bite, then turned to give the rest to Lu Fat Y, her eyes filled with sweet playfulness. "Try it." Lu Fat Y's heart fluttered, meeting her smiling eyes. He also couldn't help but smile brightly, then without hesitation put into his mouth, saying, "Oh, it's indeed not bad. Zuzu observer mo tanshak uviet basino." It's over. Since the water mirror demon incident, the feelings between Lu Fat Y and Mo Jiao have leveled up. The Black Lotus must be coughing up blood and anger right now. The chubby governor, reading the room, saw the dining table's atmosphere suddenly become awkward and laughed to break the silence. The young master likes this chicken dish. It is truly an honor for this governor. Eat more. Saying that, he affectionately picked up a chicken wing for Emotan. Juju didn't like this. "Father, you don't need to do such things." Emotan politely thanked him, maintaining his obedient and docile image in front of his sister. However, he didn't even touch the chicken wing, but only elegantly ate the outer half of his rice. In the end, he deliberately left the chicken wing on the edge of the bowl, having eaten the other half to the bottom. Emotan's personality was to take his anger out on others. When he was upset, he had to make others uncomfortable too. The governor was momentarily a bit embarrassed, not knowing what he did wrong to make the guest unhappy. Just as he was anxious and uneasy, weighing his words, the person next to him suddenly did something that made his eyes widen. As Emotan lowered his head to eat, a fair wrist suddenly darted out in front of him, quickly snatching away the chicken wing in his bowl. He looked up and saw Jiu sitting next to him, having put the chicken wing into her own bowl. Feeling his gaze, the other party with an innocent face slowly added, "It's fine, right? I'm not full yet." Jiu heard the governor panting as he lectured. "My precious, it's not like our family can't afford chicken. If it's not enough, just order more. Why did you take food from the guest bowl? This is totally without manners." I saw that young Master Mo didn't like eating the chicken wing. She replied weakly and aggrievedly, "And I like eating it." She looked at her father, whose forehead was covered in sweat, and smiled as brightly as a flower while gnawing on the chicken wing. "Our family's chicken wing is very delicious." She smiled innocently, melting the governor's heart. Throwing away all hospitality manners, deeply engrossed in stroking her head and smiling indulgently. All right. He gently put down his chopsticks, his deep eyes beginning to appraise Lang Jiu's side profile, seeing her smiling with her eyes crinkled. How could a girl smile like that? The corners of her mouth turned up, her eyes also curved. She lifted her face like a spoiled cat, both arrogant and silly. He thought, sister has never smiled like that. Emotan's mood was subtle. On the left, there was affection. On the right, there was protectiveness over a child, leaving only him to be disliked. A lonely doubt rose from the bottom of his heart. What were they so happy about? Noticing Juju's gaze on him, he hurriedly turned his face away. Juju felt guilty. She had just taken his chicken wing. Hadn't she angered him? Looking at Tan's gloomy face, Juju cried tears in her heart. He was indeed angry. Having ridden the tiger, it was hard to get off. Sweating, she smiled, picked up a piece of chicken breast, and said with a smile, "Thank you for the chicken wing, young Master Mo. So I'll eat it." Tan said unhappily, "Don't be so polite. I don't like eating chicken wings as much as Miss Langu here." Juju was depressed, dark clouds filling her head. She had wanted to take the initiative to attack, but she ended up making him angry instead. Wasn't his affection for her now in the negatives? She suddenly felt the chicken wing in her hand was no longer delicious. System task reminder. Task 1, 1/4 of the next task. The host needs to follow the trajectory of the character Langu, increasing the time spent together in intimacy with the character Lu Fat Y. After the reminder, Langu sneered, "System, do you want to add to my grievances while I'm sad?" In the late spring weather, the night was a bit piercingly cold, and everyone in the manor began to leave the banquet. In the courtyard, everyone said goodbye to each other. Juju walked in the dark night, walking and stopping alone, her steps a bit hesitant, as if going to steal. She had no idea that Tan was walking behind her. How strange, she thought. The governor's manor during the day and the governor's manor at night looked nothing alike. Juju was terrible with directions. She relied on her daytime memory to walk straight, and after many twists and turns, she finally found the residential area where the main character stayed. After receiving the task reminder, Juju had not slept well for several days, and dark circles appeared under her eyes. She didn't understand. Langu was a dignified eldest miss. Why did she always have to do such sneaky things? Even at this moment, her heart was still very tense. Growing up this big, she had never done such a shameful thing before. She slowly approached the window, carefully stretched out her finger, and poked up a corner of the window paper, then pressed her body close to it. Langu always peeked at her sweetheart like this. What a pervert. Juju wanted to cry, but had no tears. Looking at the window paper here curled up so miserably, who knew how many times the original owner had done this before? A hand suddenly appeared on her shoulder. Juju gasped, turned around, and a familiar face caught her eye. Juju hurriedly took a few steps back, standing outside the door, her heart almost jumping out of her throat. Tan stood in the dark night, catching the dew, and said, "What is Miss Lang doing?" Under the moonlight, Juju raised her head, her face pale. She couldn't let him know that she was peeking at his sister and Lu Fat Y. She hesitated, bit her lower lip, seemingly finding it hard to speak. "I have insomnia." Insomnia? Tan crossed his arms, not criticizing her for answering irrelevantly, but just smiled and said, "Oh, it looks like you didn't sleep well." He took a few steps closer, looked down at her, his face full of concern. "Miss Lang has insomnia for no reason. Is there something on your mind?" He leaned in with a half smile. "Miss Lang has insomnia for no reason. Is it because you did something against your conscience?" Juju was worried that he was starting to get suspicious. "That's not it." Juju sighed and squatted down. "It's just that I can't sleep and want to find someone to chat with." She looked up, glanced at Tan, and lowered her voice. "I didn't expect you all to be asleep. Only Big Brother Lou's room still has the lights on. I originally wanted to call him, but I was afraid of disturbing him. So," he smiled dangerously. "Then what a coincidence. I haven't slept yet. I can chat with Miss Lang." Juju was dragged away by Tan, forced to leave the main character's residence, walking stiffly on the bluestone path. Tan let go of her hand, rubbing his wrist with some grievance. "I thought that since Miss Lang could pick food from my bowl, you must be so close to me that you don't care about these social etiquettes anymore, right? Why are you being so polite now?" He very naturally put his arm around her shoulders. Juju slipped out of his arm, and she pressed close, holding onto his arm. It was too cold outside. Juju shrank in the night wind, mustering the courage to pull Tan. "How about young master? Go to my room to sit." She had to quickly leave this damn place. If the Black Lotus found out she was doing a task, she'd be done for. So, she didn't hesitate to lead the wolf into her house. Arriving back at her room, Juju quickly withdrew her hand from Tan's. This man who didn't understand romance. In the room, there were a few crane-shaped lamps and some oil lamps. Candles stand replaced at the base of the wall every few steps, flickering high and low, illuminating the whole room as bright as day. Emotan slightly lowered his long eyelashes, casting dark shadows over his fair face. He stared intently at the chessboard for a long time, then unconsciously frowned. His nails were neatly trimmed, and the chess piece accidentally brushed against his fingertip. Lang Ju raised her hand again, and she noticed Emotan staring at her hand. She looked at his enduring expression, feeling a bit amused in her heart. The moment she placed her piece, he finally couldn't control his harsh tone. "Miss Lang, do you know how to play chess?" "Not really." Not really? It was completely playing blindly. The anger in Emotan's heart immediately spread like weeds. He glanced at the water clock. It was already the third watch. If he had known she was sick in the head, not sleeping in the middle of the night, and deliberately teasing people, he was also sick for playing with her. "Young Master Mo, don't be angry." Ju caught a glimpse of the coldness in Emotan's eyes and immediately softened her voice to apologize. "I'm not very good at playing traditional Go. However," she pointed at the chessboard, "look closely. They are connected in a line." "Yeah, I see it." Emotan tried to suppress his anger, looked at her coldly, almost sneering. Only a fool would deliberately connect the chess pieces in a line. "Let me explain it to you a bit. This is a way of playing that used to be popular among the commoners in our Tai Thuong commandery, just as interesting as your way of playing." Ju smiled at him. "Whoever connects 5 pieces first wins. It's called 5 in a row." Emotan looked at her face, a bit absent-minded as he said, "This is the first time I've heard of it. I only know how to play the chess that my sister taught me. No one has ever taught me this." Emo Jiao had not played chess with him for a long time, because Lu Fat Wai was also a chess master. He was the type of man his sister liked the most, with a steady and upright demeanor. The two of them were well-matched opponents. Ju saw the Black Lotus's expression changing constantly and somewhat regretted being so nosy. She suddenly felt guilty in her heart. "I just said that 5 in a row looks simple, but it's actually very difficult." Going against her conscience, she tactfully changed the subject. "Young Master Amo, even though you're good at playing Go, you might not be able to master 5 in a row." After dividing the pieces, keeping the black ones for herself and pushing the white ones towards him, "Let's play a game and see." Emotan looked at the box of white pieces in front of him and frowned. "Switching pieces? That's right." Lang Jujiu curved her eyes, picked up a pure white chess piece, and held it up for him to see. The lamplight reflected in her eyes like 2 small moons. "This is Yunzi, white as white teeth. Just like young Master Mo, truly beautiful." Emotan was a bit stunned. What kind of comparison was this? It was clearly a bit inappropriate. The lights in Lang Juju's room were still on. "Mo Tang Sat opposite Lang Juju." "Emotan, you lost." "Emotan, you lost again." "I won again." "Play properly. Don't keep letting me win." "Brother Emotan, you play too poorly." Emotan frowned, complaining, "My eyes are all blurred." "My eyes are blurred too." She was still immersed in joy, her face full of smiles, looking smug and arrogant. "How come I can still find it?" Emotan was speechless. Who would want to be friends with this woman? Just by playing a game of chess, she didn't even call him young master Emo anymore. "Lang Mu." Emotan also began to call her by her name. "Don't call me Langgu." Juju pulled a long face. "It sounds awful." Langgu and Lingyu have almost the same pronunciation. Emotan completely threw away his polite mask, raised his eyes, and said, "The 3 words Miss Lang are hard to say." "Then call me by my childhood name." Ziu. He paused, not calling out her name, and under the influence of a headache from staying up late, with an unclear mind, he was possessed to add, "I also have a courtesy name called Tu Kai." Juju was quite surprised. Tu Ki? Was he exchanging real names with her? Emotan also didn't expect himself to talk so much with Juju. The two continued to play chess. In front of the door, a row of people with disheveled clothes was kneeling on the ground, their faces covered in mud. The tragic crying was continuous, enveloping the entire heaven and earth. The young girls had their hair grabbed by the soldiers, their hands tied behind their backs, walking unsteadily, dragged along like torn sacks. Diu was awakened by a nightmare. How terrifying! Was this the final ending of Lang Gu's family in the novel? Mayday called out cautiously, her soft voice like scratching at one's heart. "Miss, you're awake. Master has called you to the living room to receive guests." Very quickly, Lang Juju went out to eat pastries and drink tea with everyone. Ding. Task reminder, Task 1, 1/4 of the next stage. Requesting the host to continue increasing intimacy with the character Lu Fat Y in the presence of the character Mo Jiao. Reminder over. Suddenly receiving the reminder, the piece of pastry in Lang Juju's mouth also became bland and tasteless. She spat out. Lu Fat Y smiled. Is it not to your taste? I think Miss Lang just hasn't fully woken up yet. Mo Tan spoke with a half smile, both being people who didn't sleep until the fourth watch. His complexion was still fair and rosy, without the slightest dark circles under his eyes. Meeting Mo Tan's dark eyes, Lang Jiu instinctively shrank back. Instantly, the flames and illusions swept over her once again, and her stomach began to churn. Mo Tan saw her pale face, hastily swallowing a mouthful of tea, completely ignoring him as if she hadn't heard. She turned towards Lu Fat Y and asked weakly, Big Brother Lu, does my complexion look very bad? It doesn't look very good. Lu Fat Y carefully observed her pale face, frowning slightly. Were you feeling uncomfortable? The two of them were leaning very close to each other. Juju bravely looked at him, ignoring her blushing face, her tone becoming even more pitiful. I just didn't sleep well at night. Ever since capturing the water mirror demon, I've been having nightmares every night. Hearing the words, water mirror demon, Lu Fat Y's expression became solemn. After looking at her for a long while, he calmly reassured her, saying that Miss Lang was an ordinary person and might have been affected by a great demon. From inside his robe, he took out a white brocade pouch containing mugwort and forget sorrow grass, which had a calming effect. Miss Lang need not hesitate to give it a try. Lang Juju grabbed it and held on tightly, but still pretended to be weak and pitifully declined. Can I really take this? Lu Fat Y didn't know whether to laugh or cry, of course. Lang Juju made a gesture of putting it into her clothes, the corners of her mouth unavoidably curling up. Then I'll really take it. Lu Fat Y was amused. Yeah, take it. It's for Miss Lang, Mo Jiao said lightly, her gaze shooting straight over. If you don't like that scent, I still have some here. Mo Tan added fuel to the fire. This is a gift from Big Brother Lu. Miss Lang will definitely get better. Mo Tan's expression had been poor for a long time. He was like a weather doll that Mo Jiao hung by the window. There were some emotions that Mo Jiao herself hadn't realized yet, but he could detect them first. Therefore, his gaze when looking at Juju carried a bit of profundity. Juju's face turned ashen. The situation was about to get out of control. She had to quickly make peace. She couldn't let them split up. If she eased their relationship, Mo Tan wouldn't be angry. She turned to Mo Jiao with a smile and said, Sister Mo also has a fragrant pouch. Is it a pair with young Master Lu's? Mo Jiao was so provoked she was fuming, wanting to publicly declare her sovereignty. The word yes was already on her lips. At the same time, Lu Fat Y seriously explained that's not the case. Demon-catching Taoists often carry a few such fragrant pouches to ward off evil entities. Lang Jiu froze for a moment. So embarrassing. What should she do now? Giving him a like for being too straightforward. Mo Jiao's face turned from pale to red, then back to pale, and she stood up abruptly. I'm going back first. Sister, I'll walk you back. This was exactly the outcome Mo Tan wished for. He closely followed Mo Jiao, smiling like blooming spring flowers, his eyes shining brightly. You should go quickly, Big Brother Lu. Thank you for your fragrant pouch. Jiu very cleverly paved the way for him. However, Lu Fat Y didn't leave. His slender fingers drew out a wordless talisman, took the fragrant pouch from Juju's hand, folded it small, and stuffed it inside. This is my talisman. It has my aura on it. If the nightmare is caused by an evil entity, it will sense this and won't dare to bother you anymore. Lang Juju was touched by the male lead's kindness. Thank you, Big Brother Lu. You should go quickly. Lu Fat Y smiled, and only then did he flick his sleeves and leave. I'll go check on Jiao. Jiu sighed with emotion. It was finally over. Mo Tan was truly as unpredictable as the weather. He was clearly playing chess with her last night. Why was he fishing in troubled waters today? Outside the West Wing, there were few passers-by. Two silhouettes stood by the lake. Sister, I think Miss Lang has feelings for Lu Fat Y. Don't speak nonsense. Mo Jiao's expression was indifferent, but her eyes suddenly wavered slightly. Seeing his sister's mind in turmoil, he was naturally pleased and added embellishments. I think Lu Fat Y doesn't dislike Lang Gu either. Mo Jiao frowned. If you're too free, go practice your spells. Don't sway around in front of me. Sister, don't be angry. He softened his voice. I'm just worried. What if Lu Fat Y? Fat Y is not that kind of person. Mo Zhao Yin Tup Lai Di. Her eyes clear, without a hint of doubt. He detested his sister's trust in that person. At this moment, the wind suddenly blew the stray hairs on his forehead, bringing a yellow shadow like a butterfly's wing. Mo Tan reached out to catch it. It was a torn piece of yellow paper, only showing a corner of a red character. Unclear what word it was. His expression suddenly changed. This is Lu Fat Y's talisman. Why is it here? Not many great demons could break his blood talisman, unless someone did it intentionally. At this time, the culprit, Jiu, was sneezing continuously. She felt a slight chill down her spine. Someone must be speaking ill of her. Mo Tan's face was expressionless, his movements elegant, but it seemed like the silence before a storm. At this moment, Lang Jiu was in her room trying on new summer clothes. Jiu lowered her head to tie her sash, suddenly feeling uncomfortable and twisted her back. Why does it sting a bit? The maid lifted her top to look and said in panic, "Oh, your back is all red." Her hands skillfully checked the fabric material, feeling a few bumps inside, and complained unhappily, "What's wrong this year? Choosing fabric with bumps. Miss, take it off. These clothes can't be worn." Lang Jiu turned her head and said in surprise, "One or two flaws shouldn't matter, right?" "Of course it matters." The maid gently helped take off the short top, mercilessly throwing it aside, and sighed. If it weren't for the Yuan River flooding, half of the weaving households being washed away and only producing enough for tributes. Why would you have to make do with such flawed fabric, miss? You're saying Tai Thuong Commandery met with a natural disaster? Miss, you don't need to worry. It's nothing. She pouted. Doesn't the Yuan River's dike break once every 3 or 4 years? Anyway, it won't reach our place. A familiar, experienced, mysterious look appeared on her youthful face. Doesn't the palace allocate silver to repair the Great Dike every time? Every time silver is allocated, she smiled and blinked. Miss will quickly have new fabric to make clothes. Lang Jiu's heart skipped a beat. Don't say that. Her face darkened. The maid stammered in fear. Mississippi. Where's my father? In the study, talking to people from the palace. I'm going to find him now. Mississippi. The governor of Tai Thuong Commandery took the relief silver. Half was used to repair the dikes and dams, and the other half quietly disappeared. Even a 14-year-old little maid knew this so well. This meant it was an open secret in the governor's manor that everyone knew. She had to advise her father not to do illegal things anymore. Jiu pushed the door open. Outside the door, Mo Tan was standing. The soft light rested on his jet-black hair, the ends of his hair gently swaying in the wind. "Miss Lang," he smiled and said, his shiny black eyes deep and bottomless. "What is it? Looking for me to play chess?" Lang Jiu brushed past him to go out, deliberately keeping her distance from him. She knew full well that him looking for her definitely meant nothing good. Better slip away quickly. She said, "Too bad. I'm not free right now. I have to go catch up on some sleep first." Mo Tan was like a lingering ghost, lightly chasing after her, reaching out his hand and pulling her behind a row of Taihu rocks. Lang Jiu had no time to worry about the pain, her heart filled with fear. "Young Master Tu Kai, do you have something to say to me?" Mo Tan smiled at her. "Haven't seen Miss Lang for a few days. Has your insomnia been cured?" His smile made one's hair stand on end. It was clearly a beautiful, youthful face, but in his bright pupils lay suppressed emotions. It was a cruel coldness. Under the smiling mask, a few rays of cold light still unavoidably escaped. He gently stroked her cheek and spat out every word. "It seems young Master Lu's fragrant pouch works very well." Lang Jiu couldn't stand it. Mo Tan, do you have intermittent amnesia? He wasn't angry, raising his head, huh? Why say that? Jiu was annoyed, her momentum also skyrocketing. If you want to ask something, just ask. Why act all mysterious? The truth proved she worried too much. He restrained himself very well, twitching the corner of his mouth. Miss Lang misunderstood. "I'm just caring a little." Unfortunately, this impervious attitude drove people even crazier than a murderous outburst. Didn't we agree that calling me Jiu is fine? Miss Lang is joking. Mo Tan's gaze was bottomless, completely different from the frustrated youth sitting in front of the chessboard that day. Tu Kai is just a guest. A guest must act like a guest. How could I not keep my manners with the governor's daughter? While stroking Jiu's hair, Mo Tan took the opportunity to secretly pluck her hair. Lang Jiu slapped Mo Tan's hand away and said, "Stop being so cynical and weird. I still have urgent matters and cannot continue chatting with young Master Mo here." Lang Jiu walked out, only wanting to quickly see the sunlight. "You say I have amnesia." Mo Tan's voice rang out behind her, carrying a chilling smile. "Has anyone ever told Miss Lang that you are also a two-faced person?" Jiu was stunned, her footsteps suddenly stopping, bristling as she turned her head and said, "What did I do now? What'd you do?" Mo Tan refused to say, smiling and waving his hand, signaling her to go. Then he also turned and left. Jiu thought in her heart. Two-faced? Could it be that he has discovered Lang Ngu framed Mo Jiao? What is he looking for me for at this time? So hard to guess. Walking far away from Jiu, Mo Tan lowered his head, with two jet-black strands of Lang Jiu's hair wrapped around his hand. A hint of surprise appeared on Mo Tan's face. Half of the talisman was already burned in his hand, the other half still trying to attract the airflow, carrying a rich, sweet scent mixed with the smell of the talisman. Immediately after, the remaining half of the talisman struggled a bit and then also burned to ashes. He paused for a moment, then casually released Lang Jiu's hair, slowly bringing over the aura on her body. He waited attentively, yet feeling a bit nervous. The faint aura Lang Jiu left behind slowly gathered beside him, gradually being purified and amplified. The scent of mugwort and forget sorrow grass was filtered out, and a strange fragrance drifted over, making it impossible to distinguish whether that rich, sweet scent was still underneath. Right after, a familiar aura rushed over. It was the thick aura of Lu Fat Y. Mo Tan's originally somewhat clear face was once again covered by clouds. Why did everyone around revolve around Lu Fat Y? Never mind. No matter who it was that framed his sister in the Lang family, he definitely wouldn't let the Lang family off. Zeus, nevet continuun sir. Why did she feel such a murderous intent? In the original work, a person named Kai Duk presented the ledger to the imperial court, causing the entire Lang family to be exterminated. Looking at the Black Lotus's expression today, he was definitely involved in this matter. No, she had to save herself. Otherwise, with the Black Lotus's personality, she wouldn't have a good ending. To explain why the scent of her hair was different, it was because Lang Gu used a different shampoo with a strong fragrance. So Jiu told the servants to make locust bean shampoo added with peach blossom scent. Blossom. Mo Tang Fao Ki Du. His voice was like heavenly music, soft and bewitching. Do you want to be the governor? I want to be the governor. Kai Duk's eyes stared straight ahead. Unfortunately, Tai Thuan Commandery already has a governor. What should you do now? He couldn't speak, drops of sweat flowing down his temples, soaking into his collar. But when he saw the youth's eyes, he was immediately lost in a boundless galactic vortex. I must replace him. How to replace him? The youth guided him step by step. I will report him. His eyes suddenly lit up, bloodshot, revealing a look of madness. I have evidence. I have evidence that he embezzled the relief money. This is a major crime. He will be dismissed from office. By then, but officials cover up for each other. How can you report him and when? I will go find Prefect Tran. He and the governor are sworn enemies. As long as I hand the ledger over to him, he will definitely take revenge. Yeah. Mo Tan stood up straight, put his hands behind his back, tightened the hair tie on his head, and calmly raised an eyebrow. Go. The person on the ground, frightened out of his wits, scrambled up and stumbled away. Mo Tan thought, if he just went like that, the Lang family would be finished. He thought of Jiu again. She would also be implicated. Moreover, if Kai Duk just left like this and happened to be discovered by Sister never liked him acting on his own. Forget it. Consider her lucky. As the white-robed back was about to reach the boundary of light and shadow, the youth suddenly lifted his eyes and called him back. Hesitating for a moment, his eyes flashed. Kai-duk, come back. The man stood still like a puppet held back by a string, but still hesitated. His face was like a greedy, stubborn, hungry wolf. Mr. Kai, are you inside? A voice came from afar. Emoton was startled. With one palm strike, he knocked Kai-duk unconscious, twisted his arm back, pushed his entire body into the small gap under the bed, and quickly hit him. Lang Ju pushed the door and entered. The door of the West Wing was not locked. Because of its poor and remote location, the room was always damp and shaded, as if trying to isolate the whole room from the sunlight. What are you doing here? Emoton's voice was calm, devoid of any discernible emotion. Juju raised an eyebrow. I am in my own house. I can go wherever I please. It is you. Why are you so free to run to the West Wing to question the meaning of life? Last time sister slept here, she dropped a hairpin. I came to look for it for her. Emoton lowered his eyelashes, his expression unclear. Oh, a hairpin is not easy to find, but a living person might not necessarily be. Ju suppressed the anger in her heart. Our governor's mansion has lost a Mr. Kai. I wonder if young Master Emo has seen him. Act fine. I'll act with you. No, he didn't even raise his eyes, answering as soon as he opened his mouth. Pausing for a moment, an innocent smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. This is Miss Lang's house. Even you couldn't find him. How could a guest like me find him? Keep acting. Lang Ju, good I heard it in Wali. Then young Master Emo wouldn't mind if I searched this room a bit, would you? After Lang Ju finished speaking, she immediately wanted to walk forward. Emoton sat in his place, stretched out an arm, and naturally stopped her. He raised his pitch-black eyes. Is Miss Lang's eyesight bad? There is no one in this room. No need for young Master Emo to worry. Juju squeezed out a smile. You just sit quietly there. Wait until I find the person, then I will help you find the hairpin. How about that? She dodged Emoton's hand. He suddenly stood up, leaned slightly, and his arm blocked her waist. Caught off guard, her whole body fell against his shoulder. Emoton took the opportunity to grab her, holding her tightly. In his embrace, there was a cold plum blossom scent lingering at the tip of her nose. Miss Lang, don't be childish. He patiently advised by her ear, his tone hardening. Lang Ju struggled a few times, but couldn't escape. Her face turned pale. The words old hooligan had reached her lips when she suddenly saw a scrawny arm silently reaching out from behind Emoton's back. The back of Lang Ju's neck suddenly felt a chill, and she let out a piercing scream. There's a ghost. Immediately after, Emoton moved away from that claw. The next second, he flew up. She saw the bracelet on Emoton's right wrist slip off. With a clank, it struck the head of the dark shadow behind him. The figure revealed itself. It was a female zombie wearing white silk clothes, her hair as messy as a mop, her skin a yellowish brown. Lang Ju squinted her eyes, not daring to look at its face. Through the slits of her eyes, she saw the female ghost's head knocked to the side, emitting a tearing sound. The air was filled with a chill that made it hard to breathe. No wonder the West Wing was always gloomy and cold. It turned out a ghost lived inside. Emoton's eyes were heavy. His hands quickly clasped together. Pop, pop, pop. 3 sparks exploded in succession like firecrackers. They emitted a yellow glow, which immediately turned into blue flames, spreading like a wildfire over the zombie's body, then gradually turning into a fireball. The air in the room began to distort. Faintly, someone could be heard screaming hoarsely, but upon listening closely, it was quiet. There was only the rattling sound of the window frame, as if it was being hit by a massive force. Lang Ju stared fixedly at the fireball not far away, her limbs freezing cold, her heart leaping in her throat. Emoton stood in place, seemingly unwilling to step back even a single pace. An unprovoked gust of wind seemed to blow through the room, lifting his sleeves and the tips of his pitch-black hair. Poof! The flame acted like a deflating balloon, suddenly shrinking and then falling down. After that, the fire went out, leaving only red specks in the ashes. Lang Ju looked down. There was nothing left on the ground. Wisps of smoke rose and were blown away by the wind, like a sigh when the song ends and the people scatter. Emoton put the bracelet back on his wrist, flicked his sleeves, lowered his eyelashes, and calmly explained to Lang Ju. I forgot to tell Miss Lang Lang. My body has a constitution that easily attracts ghosts. I scared you. When he said that, she remembered. The original book had mentioned this. Furthermore, it was precisely because of the heavy energy on him that Mo Jiao's parents intentionally adopted him, because Mo Jiao had a special constitution. Her body was extremely holy, an excellent vessel for demons and ghosts to cultivate. Who knows how many monsters coveted her? The Black Lotus was truly pitiful. A living person forced to be a shield for someone else. Lang Juju coughed lightly, glancing at him guiltily a few times. Isn't it just having heavy energy? It's nothing. Mo Tan raised his eyes to look at her. You're not afraid? I'm also afraid. She hesitated slightly, pointing at the remaining smoke on the ground, grimacing. You're always haunted by ghosts. Are you afraid? No one had ever asked him this question before. Was he afraid or not? She didn't know that her appearance right now was extremely like a tense and rigid old scholar. He said, Miss Lang doesn't need to worry. We are leaving here soon. There won't be any more ghosts appearing in the Lang mansion. Is Miss Lang tired? Do you need me to escort you back to your room to rest? Lang Juju immediately sobered up. I'm not tired at all. Then she excitedly changed the subject. Mo Tan, what if while you're sleeping, a ghost comes to sneak attack you? What would you do? He paused and replied, They won't. Right at this moment, Juju heard a rustling sound by her ear. Looking under the bed, she found something slightly unusual. It seemed like something was moving. The bed sheet with red hanging tassels was bulging. Juju, who had just been scared by a ghost and was like a bird startled by the mere twang of a bowstring, saw this scene, and her hair stood on end. She pointed a finger over. Mole, mole, mole. Before she could finish her sentence, a dark shadow dashed out from under the bed, stood up, and immediately crashed through the door and rushed out. Before she could clearly see who it was, Mo Tan lunged over and pushed her into a corner. Why is there someone in this room? Her vision was completely blocked. Her mind went blank for 2 seconds. After regaining her senses, she struggled and shouted, Kai-duk, stop! She struggled, but was firmly pressed into a corner by Mo Tan. His face was pale, his whole body pressed into her embrace, his eyes full of innocent fear. Miss Lang, so scary. Scary. You weren't even scared when you met a ghost just now. Lang Juju cursed 10,000 times in her heart. Scary. Just now. Even the ghost wasn't scary to you. I think you're the scariest person here. She was about to erupt in anger, when suddenly she felt Mo Tan's arms loosen. She immediately broke through the gap, lifted her skirt, and ran out the door like an arrow leaving the bowstring, running and shouting, Quick! Got Mr. Gi. Mo Tan leaned against the door, watching Lang Juju's rabbit-like figure gradually turn into a small, followed by a comical group of people chasing after her. His eyes were deep, yet the corners of his mouth curved up. Kai-duk's face was ashen. His cheeks scraped against the ground, torn and bleeding. His eyes, however, were terrifyingly bright, his mouth continuously muttering, the governor, the account books. Kai-duk's gaze shifted, focusing on her. The governor is about to fall, and you will soon go to prison with him. Ha 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 ha. His laughter suddenly stopped abruptly. He frowned, and a bewildered look appeared in his eyes again. Mississippi. Awai used his sleeve to wipe his sweat, swallowing nervously with some panic. This servant has broken his arm, yet he has no reaction at all. Juju bent down and asked Mr. Kai, what exactly did that Black Lotus do? Why did Kai-duk become like this? Mo Tan slowly returned to his room. He casually grabbed a servant hurrying through the corridor. Have you found Mr. Kai? The person stopped was a half-grown boy with a cracking voice. Looking somewhat shyly at the beautiful, spring-flower-like youth in front of him, he scratched his head and said, Yes, we caught him. The miss ordered him locked in the woodshed. Thank you, little brother. Mo Tan nodded slightly, and without waiting for the other's reaction, turned and left. He walked thoughtfully down the long corridor. Since it's like this, let it go. Consider it settled. Atan. Mo Jiao poked her head out the window, showing a rare, joyful smile. Sister. Mo Tan's dark expression suddenly brightened as he stepped up to the window. Pack your luggage a bit tonight. Mo Jiao leaned against the window, casually instructing, in 3 days, we will leave Tai Thuong Commandery. So we are leaving? Suddenly hearing this news, a figure rushing out the door like a rabbit flashed in his mind again. He closed his eyes, throwing those messy and chaotic thoughts out of his mind. Why think of that sick woman? Sister, where are we going? At the dining table, Lang Juju gaped. What? You all are leaving? Setting off immediately tomorrow. So soon? Miss Lang, Emoton rarely smiled gently at her. Demon-catching Taoists consider the four C's their home and wandering as their destiny. We have disturbed you here for too long. No, not long. Lang Juju waved her hands. After a long while, she carefully pleaded, how about you guys stay a while longer? I'm still afraid. Before she finished speaking, ding-ding warning sounds continuously rang in her head, like a collapsed dam with floodwaters rushing out. Without even listening, she knew her task completion rate was too low. Now, the main character group was about to leave Tai Thuong, let alone Emoton's side, not showing any improvement. Even the intimacy level with Lu Fat Y wasn't enough. Seeing no hope on this side, Juju turned towards Lu Fat Y. Before she could open her mouth, Emoton's voice flew over. Afraid? Is Miss Lang still so scared by demons that you can't sleep? In his eyes, there seemed to be a small moon. He squinted and mocked. Do you need me to give you my fragrant pouches too? As he spoke, he quickly poured out 3 or 4 bulging yellow pouches from his sleeve and laid them out on the tea table. The mouths of those fragrant pouches were tied with bright white silk ribbons, like his hair ribbon. What's wrong? It seems young Master Lu's fragrant pouch is enough. Seeing her hesitate, he angrily swept up the fragrant pouches with his long, slender, fair hands, and in the blink of an eye, took them back. The Black Lotus was being passive-aggressive. Lang Jiu felt a chill down her spine. Atan, stop joking. Lu Fat Y reproachfully interrupted, bailing her out. He said mildly, these past few days, many thanks to Miss Lang and Lord Lang for your hospitality. Jiu was quick to respond. Young Master Lu doesn't need to say thanks. It seemed they absolutely had to leave. She had no choice but to use her ultimate move. Lang Jiu was secretly anxious in her heart. She choked for a long time before spitting out a sentence. I want to go with you all. The atmosphere was momentarily quiet. 3 pairs of eyes simultaneously focused on her face with different expressions. Miss Lang, this is not a joke. Mo Zhao frowned, her tone becoming serious. The journey to catch demons is extremely difficult and dangerous. Not to mention having to deal with demons, but even the life of sleeping in the open, I'm afraid you can't even imagine. Lang Ju widened her big, innocent, round eyes, her face full of naivety. I can do it. I am very strong. I can endure any hardship. But we don't have 2 bowls of rice for you to eat at every meal. Mo Tan smirked, then was immediately scolded by Mo Zhao Atan. Is this the time to joke around? Miss Lang hasn't experienced such a life. I'm afraid she doesn't know how hard it is. Unable to persuade her, and seeing that Lang Jiu was about to cry, her expression was a bit frustrated, and she signaled Lu Fat Y with her eyes to continue speaking. Lu Fat Y smiled. Miss Lang, why do you suddenly want to follow us? Jiu pondered for a moment, then stared intently into Lu Fat Y's pitch-black eyes until her eye sockets felt dry and tears naturally welled up. I don't want to continue living this kind of life. The emotion came as soon as she spoke, her voice becoming choked with sobs, her eyes covered in a layer of mist. Before meeting you all, I also submitted to my parents' orders, feeling that being locked in a boudoir for my whole life was my destiny. But when I met you all, I realized that people can live so carefree, so freely. But it's not as carefree and free as you think. Mo Zhao frowned and interrupted, but Lu Fat Y waved his hand, gesturing for her to finish listening. I don't want to stay in this small world for my whole life, marry a stranger, and then be trapped in the daily grind of firewood, rice, oil, and salt, and finally grow old in boredom. I can choose my own life. I want to leave some different colors in my life. Even if it's dangerous, I'm not afraid. If so, I will have something to remember later. After her speech, Lang Jiu pursed her lips, her eyes looking at Lu Fat Y as if 2 flames were burning inside them. Jiu was also moved by herself. Meanwhile, Emoton rolled his eyes, another girl who knew how to act. Lu Fat Y's eyes were extremely gentle, his tone even holding a bit of encouragement. This is a major matter. Have you discussed it with your esteemed father? Fat Y, Mo Zhao, was extremely tense. In her eyes, boudoir ladies like Jiu were always overly idealistic. Young Master Lu, Sister Mo, I guarantee I won't be a hindrance to you too. If I can't fight, I'll run away. I exercise my body. Every morning, I run very fast. Seeing Lu Fat Y loosen up, Lang Jiu's face lit up with joy, pouring out a string of guarantees. She patted her chest, lying without changing her expression. I've already discussed it with my father. He also strongly agrees with me going out to temper myself and broaden my horizons. I feel it might not be impossible. I disagree. The voices of Mo Zhao and Lu Fat Y rang out at the same time. Both were stunned and turned their heads to look at each other. One against one, the situation was a bit awkward. She said with a cold face, I need to ensure Miss Lang's safety. If something happens, who will take responsibility? I will not let anything happen to Miss Lang. Lu Fat Y replied gently, his words revealing his unique calm arrogance. This point once again angered Mo Zhao, her expression worsening. No, in your eyes, is my opinion not important at all? Seeing the atmosphere between the two becoming increasingly tense, Lang Dujiu was momentarily flustered, her forehead breaking out in sweat. Ding! Task reward. Because the host overcompleted the task of causing conflict, the reward is a one-time catalytic image. After the notification, Lang Dujiu was truly so disheartened she wanted to cry. What is a catalytic image? What kind of reward is something you can't see or touch? Is it really not mocking her? She took Mo Jiao's hand and placed it in Lu Fat Y's palm. Then as she stepped out from between the two, she carefully said, I know Sister Mo is thinking about my safety. I don't know how to catch demons. Me dying is a small matter, but dragging you down is a big matter. I guarantee I will definitely be quick to adapt. When I need to run, I absolutely won't be greedy for battle. When I need to commit suicide, I absolutely won't drag down my teammates. Everything will prioritize the group. Both of you are formidable figures. You need to protect me together. I will slowly grow up, I guarantee it. Seeing Lang Ju retreat to a corner and breathe a sigh of relief, Mo Tan slightly narrowed his eyes. Didn't she like Lu Fat Y? What's she doing right now? Sister, he slowly opened his mouth. Ju stared at the black lotus, her heart in her throat. I feel. Young Master Mo, don't worry. I don't need to eat 2 bowls of rice at every meal. Fearing that more trouble would arise, Ju raised her hand and exaggeratedly made a swearing gesture. I won't have a problem even if I don't eat for a day. Mo Tan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He saw the tension and expectation in her big, round eyes, then glanced at Lu Fat Y, who was gently coaxing Mo Zhao. His expression darkened, and after a moment he said softly, I feel Miss Lang is very suitable for catching demons. After saying that, he smiled. Just now, when Miss Lang looked at my scented pouch, what were you thinking? Lang Juju blew her nose hard, then thought blankly, her eyes glancing over his jade-like face, and said a bit shyly, I thought the silk ribbon on the mouth of your scented pouch looked a bit familiar. Didn't you use your hair tie to tie it? Mo Tan smiled, his long, slender fingers wrapping around the hair tie on his head. Are you very interested in this? No. Lang Ju said one thing, but meant another, finally praising sincerely, it is indeed very beautiful. Suits you. Mo Tan chuckled softly and let go of his hand. The bright white hair tie swayed in the wind, resting on his black hair like a butterfly flapping its wings, wanting to fly. It's a pity that beautiful things are always very vicious. The vast river, the pier with people coming and going. Her governor father on the shore was getting further and further away. The expression on his face no longer clear, only a dark silhouette vigorously waving its hand could be seen. Good daughter, have a safe trip. Daughter, remember to send letters to your father. Ju felt sour in her heart, half her body leaning over the railing, waving vigorously, gesturing for him to go back. Careful. Lu Fat Y grabbed her sleeve, pulling her back to the deck. This railing is not sturdy. A look of helplessness flashed in Lu Fat Y's eyes. He smiled and said, Come, I'll take you to see your room. Mo Jiao's cold gaze brushed past Lu Fat Y, looking towards Juju. Miss Lang's complexion is not good. Are you seasick? In her indifferent voice, a hint of concern still emanated. A little bit. Ju was overwhelmed by the unexpected favor, then heard Fat Y naturally continue. Seasick, I still have a scented pouch. Before he could finish his words, Mo Jiao's expression changed. She gave a quick nod, brushed past Lu Fat Y, and walked straight away, leaving Lu Fat Y half-spoken, standing in the river wind. Lu Fat Y and Lang Ju stared blankly as Mo Jiao walked past with an unhappy attitude. From behind the cotton quilt, Mo Tan's smiling black eyes appeared, greeting Lang Juju in a very good mood. Thanks to Miss Lang's blessing, we are able to stay on such a luxurious boat. After speaking, he closed his eyes and chased after Mo Jiao. Sister, I'll help you make the bed. Waiting until Mo Tan caught up. Sister, why aren't you walking anymore? He hugged the quilt and mattress, his innocent face blocking her line of sight. Young Master Lu is helping Jiu make the bed. A sweet smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Let's go in too. Mo Jiao stopped, turning her head to look at him seriously. The mole under the corner of her eye made her look coldly charming as she opened her mouth to change the subject. The aura on your body is not quite right. Did you again? I didn't. Mo Tan's eyes flashed, quickly replying, then smiling reassuringly and said, how could I forget what sister instructed? It's best if you didn't. Mo Jiao lowered her eyelashes, opened the room door, and walked in. Before entering, she turned her head to look at him again. You must remember your identity. You're the hope of the Mo family. In Juju's room, Lu Fat Y asked, do you know how to make the bed? She was about to happily say, of course I know, when she remembered she almost forgot she still had to seduce Lu Fat Y. Acting on her thoughts, Juju cozied up to Lu Fat Y. I don't really know how. Can Big Brother Lu teach me? Juju leaned to one side, watching Lu Fat Y bend over and busy himself. Why we still have to lay a mat under the mattress? Lu Fat Y replied, there's a lot of moisture on the boat. Laying a mat is to prevent dampness. Ah, so smart. Lang Juju praised from the bottom of her heart, touching the mattress. It indeed had a bit of moisture. Not smart. Lu Fat Y smiled. You just gain experience from traveling a lot. How many places have you guys been to? Juju's eyes were clear black and white, filled with curiosity, looking at everything as if it were new, like a sweet, fresh orange. Just seeing her, no matter how tired one was, it would all vanish into nothingness. Many. Lu Fat Y recalled, at first, I was alone until I got injured once and met Jiao Ni. There was a bit of nostalgia in his eyes, the corner of his mouth curving into a slight smile. Jiu decided to help and asked, do you feel like you should have a serious talk with her? Talk about what? Confide in her. Jiu felt frustrated at his ineptitude. You don't say it. She doesn't say it either. Are you just going to keep sulking like this? Zhao Ni, see. A strange smile suddenly appeared in his eyes. Sulking? Lang Jiu on mot finet. So this is a straight man. Lang Jiu looked at the vast water current and said in a low voice, Big Brother Lu, let me tell you an interesting story. In my hometown, legend has it that there are female demons in the sea called sirens. Sailors who hear their beautiful singing will be mesmerized, and then the boat will crash into the reefs. There's similar demons here too. Speaking of demons, Lu Fat Y was already very familiar. His tone quite calm. Underwater, there can very well be water ghosts that bewitch travelers, transformed from those who died unjustly. There is also a type of demon called charm demon, skilled in singing and dancing. Legend has it they are stunningly beautiful, bewitching people's hearts. Jiu muttered these words, revealing a gossipy smile. Stunningly beautiful. Have you met one? Eager for gossip, Lu Fat Y smiled. I have met many water ghosts, but never a charm demon. This demon is rare, mostly hidden in the mountains and forests. Once they descend to the mortal realm, they will definitely cause disasters. Why? Lu Fat Y thought for a moment. The previous generation of demon-catching Taoists said that charm demons are the most devoted and righteous in the world. Their demonic power is immense, but they will not actively harm people. If betrayed, they will create another demon soul in their body called grudge demon, with an identical appearance, but an extremely evil nature. Two people sharing one body, bringing harm to all directions. Grudge demon is the demon that all demon-catching Taoists fear the most. Lang Jujiu was terrified after hearing this. A person with split personality. As expected of demon catching, the setting for demons in this world is out of the ordinary. 100 strange things, 1,000 different things. Mo Jiao opened the tea and steamed buns prepared, which were absolutely out of this world. After Lang Jiu finished eating the steamed buns, she happily packed a few more, preparing to give them to Mo Jiao and the others. The moonlight that had just appeared was half covered by dark clouds. The surroundings darkened. It was a gloomy night. The door to Mo Jiao's room was tightly closed. Lang Juju saw a familiar corner of clothing. It was the pale yellow corner of Mo Tan's clothes. Lang Juju didn't dare to move, secretly peeking over. Mo Tan was sitting at the door of Mo Jiao's room. Lang Jiu was stunned. Did the Black Lotus protect Mo Jiao to that extent? The next second, she heard the sound of flowing water by her ear, as if something was rushing from the riverbed. She turned her head to look. There was nothing outside the edge of the boat, only the night wind blowing in, bringing cold water vapor. When was the window opened? Lang Jiu widened her eyes, suddenly seeing a layer of black mist on the ground, slowly condensing into a bizarre human figure. Like a lizard using all four limbs, it quickly flew past Jiu's feet. That stream of black air flew through the partition at a very fast speed, as if entering an unpopulated place. Layers of dark yellow water stains immediately appeared on the wall. It went straight to Mo Jiao's room. The black shadow quickly slid to the front of the room's door. Mo Tan immediately opened his eyes, a flash of ruthlessness in them. He sat on the ground, leaning slightly to block the door, his knuckles cracking. The black shadow stopped. As it moved, the human figure that just appeared was covered up. The black air around it surged like dark clouds. The ground where it stopped began to overflow with water, forming a small puddle. The next second, the rolling dark clouds arched their back like a wild beast, like a bowstring drawn to its limit. This was a posture ready to attack, not knowing what's good for you. Mo Tan slightly raised the corner of his mouth, his eyes sharp. The steel ring on his wrist had popped out. The demon catching ring suddenly burst into brilliant light, like the dazzling first ray of sunlight breaking through the dark clouds. The black air was struck in half, a stream of black water flowing out from its waist. The cabin was instantly filled with a foul stench. Lang Jiu covered her nose and mouth, avoiding inhaling the foul stench. Could this be the legendary water ghost? At this time, she only heard the great demon speaking, unable to see Mo Tan's expression. She took 2 steps forward. Mo Tan backhandedly pasted several soundproofing talismans on the door of Mo Jiao's room. The next second, an invisible barrier immediately enveloped the cabin. Having designs on my sister, relying just on you? The young man raised his eyebrows, a sarcastic smile blooming on the corner of his mouth. Do you know who I am? Its voice sounded scratchy, giving the listener goosebumps. If you don't want to die, get lost right now. He smiled lightly and said, aren't you just a water ghost? With his sharp 5 senses, Mo Tan quickly jumped away, then began to attack. A demon-catching ring on his wrist flew into the air, instantly enlarging, emitting white light in the dark night. It was like a black hole, causing the black mist in the air to instantly turn into a vortex, being sucked into the ring one by one. Do you think this kind of low-level magical artifact, the black shadow, suddenly protruded like an arm, quickly stretching out, then firmly grasping the demon-catching ring, can do anything to me? The white halo vibrated violently, as if silently struggling. Mo Tan controlled it with his mind. At this moment, the demon-catching ring was suppressed. His heart felt as if it was being gripped. A powerful murderous intent poured back into his body. The color of his lips grew paler and paler. Unable to hold back, he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. The demon-catching ring was completely submerged in the black air, letting out creaking sounds as if it was about to be crushed to pieces. Mo Tan's eyes darkened. He was forced to fly up like a swift, attacking straight towards the densest black shadow. Jiu was stunned with fear. What kind of suicidal fighting style was this? Sure enough, the black shadow took half a step back, then flared up like a raging fire, pouncing forward once again. Mo Tan's body was immediately entangled by countless black arms like vines, forcefully pulled towards the center. Right now, he was like a small insect stuck in a spider web, about to become a meal in the spider's belly, not wanting to live because of a magical artifact. The bizarre laughter rang out again. However, your body, the black shadow, seemed extremely surprised, and after a while mocked. For a low-level demon-catching ring, you actually seek your own death. This was the magical artifact Mo Jiao had given him. He couldn't lose it, not even a single one. Return it to you. The water ghost sneered. The silver steel ring fell out of the black mist, hit the ground hard, bounced, and then rolled to Lang Jiu's feet. Next, Lang Jiu saw a black arm pierce through Mo Tan's shoulder with a squelch. Red blood gushed out fiercely, spraying onto the opposite wall, the young man's face instantly turning as pale as paper. What a pity having such a precious body, yet born in the MO family. The water ghost's angry voice carried a hint of smugness. If you had dodged a bit earlier, you wouldn't have lost your life in vain. Lang Juju looked at Mo Tan, full of doubt. Are you stupid? Don't you know how to use fire spells? The wind blew strongly. The young man suspended in the air. Before I die, I'm afraid I don't have the chance to tell you my name. A point of light revealed itself from the fingertips in his sleeve. Lang Juju heard the cracking sound of breaking bones. A piece of yellow talisman paper flew out from Imotan's sleeve, slowly falling to the ground. The black shadow struggled madly to catch it. Under the light, the yellow paper revealed blood-red characters. Lang Juju tried hard to guess for a long time, but couldn't recognize any characters on it. It looked quite bizarre. Reverse-written talisman. The water ghost's voice was full of suspicion, its tone almost changing. How could someone from the MO family use a reverse-written talisman? Mo Tan slowly fell to the ground, the bloody hole on his shoulder looking terrifying. He flashed a wicked smile, illuminated by the red light in the cabin. I've disappointed you. I am not from the MO family. I am merely Mo Jiao's brother. Before the words finished, all the black shadows on the boat disappeared. The red light slowly retreated into Mo Tan's body. The hostility on his face had not yet disappeared. He slowly turned his head, squinting in surprise. Miss Lang, the unspoken implication, it's you again. Mo Tan saw her standing stiffly there for a moment, then quickly raised the steel ring she had picked up from the ground with both hands. Her hands held high, covering the fearful expression on her face. The ring, your bracelet. He took it, but wasn't in a hurry to wear it, instead playing with the demon-catching ring for a moment before looking toward her. Do you know, this bracelet you're talking about can smash your head to pieces. His eyes were bright, his mouth carrying an unpredictable smile. Young Master Mo is truly humorous. Lang Juju was paralyzed with fear, opening a pair of clear black and white doe eyes, her expression ignorant and fearless, smiling to reveal a row of white teeth. Just now it bumped into my foot, and my foot didn't break. It must only hit monsters. I'm a good person. Mo Tan put on the ring and questioned. What did you see just now? Navel. I saw a monster just now. It really scared me to death. I didn't expect such a formidable monster to be destroyed by young Master Mo in just one move. It's truly amazing. It would be great if you could teach me when there's a chance. Lang Juju nodded, speaking faster and faster. Her voice sweet and crisp, containing enthusiasm, as if she were pitching a sail. Young Master Mo truly lives up to coming from a renowned demon-catching family, eliminating harm for the people with extraordinary skills. You are truly the great Luo Golden Immortal of us mortals. Living for so many years, this was the first time Lang Juju acted with all her might to save her life. Mo Tan paused, a layer of dark shadow covering his face. You clearly looked with bright eyes, full of admiration. Mo Tan was about to speak but stopped, seeming not to want to say much to her, his lips curling into a mocking smile. Forget it. She can't distinguish between different types of talismans anyway. Ju rejoiced secretly in her heart, finally escaping this ordeal. Juju, are you there? Lang Juju had just let out a sigh of relief when this call immediately hit her head like a sledgehammer. Lu Fat Y stood in the dark on the corridor, his hem fluttering, and spoke in confusion. What are you standing there for? The wine is chilled. Didn't you want to drink it? Ding. Task reminder. Important plot point of Task 1. Enjoy wine and admire the moon with the character Lu Fat Y. 3 sounds rang continuously in her head. Lang Juju felt her head was about to explode. She wished she could cover this dense guy's mouth. Mo Tan clenched his hands hanging by his sides, slightly squinting his eyes, not seeing her for a moment, and he would run over here. Zhu. Ah, coming. Lang Juju quickly replied, turning her head to smile brightly at Mo Tan. Does young Master Mo want to come along? He looked at her with a hidden meaning. The matter between you two, I will not participate in. Juju found this guy's personality too erratic. Better slip away quickly. She almost became cannon fodder herself. What time is it? Mo Jiao sat on the edge of the bed, her expression tired. He deliberately changed his outer robe to cover the wound on his body. His hair was combed neatly, without a single strand out of place. Except for his slightly pale face, one couldn't tell at all that he had just gone through a fierce battle. The moon is already up. Are you hungry, sister? I don't want to eat. Atan, just now I seem to hear Fat Y's voice. Mo Jiao looked up at him, her face showing a bit of panic. Emotan's face instantly sank, his tone also changing. Yes, he came a call Lang Jiu to drink wine. Emo Jiao's eyes flickered. Then she closed her eyes and said, "Never mind then. Why must you keep looking for him, sister? I can also stay by your side. Do you want to play chess? Or, I can also go admire the moon with you, sister, but it's very cold outside. You have to wear a bit more." "No need," Emo Jiao spoke up, her voice unable to hide her distress. "Don't make a fuss, Atan. Let me have some quiet." "Sister, what's wrong with you?" The wound made him frown, a layer of cold sweat appearing on his forehead. But throughout the entire process, Emo Jiao didn't notice at all. "I dreamed of her." Emo Jiao's face was ashen, muttering, "Dreamed of our parents. They were. By her. It won't happen." Emotan grabbed her wrist, his expression serious. "I will protect you. I absolutely won't let that happen again." She closed her eyes and smiled softly, her face pale. "Don't push yourself too hard, Atan. You can't even beat me. How can you deal with her? Right now, the only way is for me to work hard on my cultivation. Work a bit harder." "No, it's not like that." Emotan's eyes darkened, a voice screaming deep within his heart. "I can, as long as you allow it, as long as you allow me. No matter what, I will avenge our parents." Emo Jiao tightly gripped her clothes, her delicate face resolute, a cold glint shooting from her eyes. "I cannot rely on anyone. I will rely on my own strength to accomplish everything." "Why do you always want to shoulder it all by yourself, sister? Do you still refuse to trust me?" Emotan's face was already pale, but he deliberately squatted down, feeling the wound on his abdomen tearing open, the hot blood continuously flowing out, making him a bit more clear-headed. "No, Atan." Emo Jiao slowly turned around, placing her hand on his shoulder, her voice gentle. "You are different from me. You are the hope of the Emo family. I will do my best." She couldn't let Emotan go down the wrong path. Emotan's eyes flashed with a hint of darkness. "Even though I am just an outsider. Say no more." Emo Jiao's face turned cold. "You will always be my brother. If you talk nonsense again, I will get angry." "That's right, in your eyes, Sister Emo Jiao is open and upright, and by right I should be deeply grateful." He let go of the curtain and left the door, his whole body feeling cold and damp. Such a cold feeling, even the bright yellow lanterns on the boat couldn't bring a bit of warmth. He had already used the reverse talisman. How could he still have the qualifications to be the hope of the Mo family? Juju and Lu Fat went out on the boat together to drink. After completing this task, the intimacy level between Juju and Lu Fat will reach 80. "Brother Lu." Juju quickly took the cup of wine Lu Fat offered her. "Thank you. I can pour it myself." Is Brother Lu also unhappy? Lu Fat smiled slightly, his eyes flashing. "Why also?" She was momentarily speechless, lowering her head and muttering, "I miss home." Then, when she looked up, acting like a movie queen, 2 streaks of tears glistened in her eyes. It's understandable." Lu Fat poured her more wine. "After all, you are not a demon-catching Taoist. Demon-catching Taoists wander everywhere, so they tend to take family and romantic love lightly. Are you like that too?" Ju looked at him quietly. "That's right." A hint of a smile appeared in his eyes. "Not just me. Dower is the same." As for Atan, he smiled and shook his head. Atan is still young and still a bit clingy. Ju swallowed hard, not daring to utter a word. Poor Lu Fat about to be heavily cuckolded, yet he still didn't know that Emotan and Emo Dao weren't blood siblings, and still thought Emotan was just being clingy. "So, have you and Sister Emo Dao gotten used to this kind of relationship?" At the mention of Emo Dao, Lu Fat's usually gentle face revealed a hint of helplessness. "I really don't know what's wrong with her lately." As the wine entered his system, his body warmed up, and he became more talkative, continuing, "Dower's temperament is too much like mine, which might not be a good thing." "That makes sense," Ju thought to herself. "Actually, this is a very simple matter. Just open up and talk." Yes, Lu Fat smiled bitterly. "It's too difficult." "What's so difficult about it?" Ju was so frustrated her heart was pounding. "Just say whatever is on your mind." "Is it really that hard?" She paused, her expression complex. "The two of you just need to sit down and open your hearts to each other for an hour. No, maybe just 15 minutes, and it would be resolved." Lu Fat shook his head, revealing a meaningful smile. "For so many years, Dower and I have both been used to shouldering everything alone. We are more like comrades in arms than lovers. We rely on each other, but we also compete with each other. In this relationship, we are afraid of losing to the other, and losing means a crushing defeat." He finished speaking and looked at Ju. "You are still young. you wouldn't understand. Ju felt a pang of guilt at his words. Right? As someone who had never been in a relationship, what right did she have to give them relationship advice? A cup of peach blossom wine was quickly emptied, leaving only unfiltered petal residue at the bottom. Ju drank until her head spun, her temples throbbed, and her tongue grew heavy. She just wanted to slump onto the table. Brother Lou, let me give you a piece of advice. Tell me, from now on, you must keep your distance from the opposite sex. That way, Mo Dao won't get angry. She raised a finger, especially if you meet a girl who is of noble status and acts spoiled, you absolutely must stay far away from her. Lu Fat Why didn't express an opinion, just smiled and patted her head. Are you drunk? Here, drink this bowl of hangover soup. Brother Lou, she asked vaguely, what is a reverse-written talisman? Liu Peachite Ifroneth. What did you hear about that? Seeing Lu Fat Y's reaction, she was startled. Heavens, just what kind of terrifying thing was the Black Lotus's reverse-written talisman? Without fully understanding the situation, she decided to cover for Emotan first. I just heard people talking about it. Why can't Mo Dao use a reverse-written talisman? Lu Fat Wai paused for a moment, then said slowly, not only Mo Dao, but all Orthodox Taoists cannot use a reverse-written talisman, because it belongs to the evil and demonic path. The hangover soup was highly effective. By now, Ju had sobered up and regained her clarity, but her head still ached and her body felt weak, rendering her temporarily unable to get up. Her heart pounded. How evil is it? There was once a great demon who disguised itself as a Taoist and infiltrated a demon-catching clan, using a single reverse-written talisman to slaughter the entire family. It's late. Let me take you back first. Don't worry. After an hour, you'll be able to move normally. She felt Lu Fat Y's voice getting closer and closer. In her panic, she suddenly forgot what else she wanted to ask and abruptly remembered the upcoming plot. According to the original storyline, this moonlit drinking session would end with a drunk Lang Gu being carried back by Lu Fat Y. On the way back, they would naturally be caught by Mo Dao, causing her to explode with jealousy. The couple would then argue and part on bad terms. When reading that part, Lang Dujiu had cursed Lang Gu in her heart for being shameless. Was he planning to carry her? No way. That would shorten her lifespan. Desperation bred ingenuity, and an affectionate call escaped her lips. Tuki, Liu Fati, Tuki. Then I'll go get a ton. No. Juju was so scared, she kicked her legs. I can go find him myself. My head hurts so much. After saying that, Juju sped off at lightning speed. No need to see me off. No need. Really no need. Where? He watched her back as she fled for her life. Haha, it's only right to be shy at a young age. I've already seen right through you too. The boat continued to move forward in the silence. Under the moonlight, a slender figure had been standing outside since who knows when, shoulders covered in dew, constantly rubbing his arms. Hearing the sound, he turned around, looking at her with a surprised expression. Seeing Ju standing there, Emotan's voice held not a trace of warmth. Why are you here? The moonlight reflected in Juju's clear black and white eyes. She took a step forward. I've been waiting for you, waiting for a long time. Looking at his complexion, he must have just been scolded by Mo Dao, which suited her perfectly. What's the point of adding flowers to brocade? She was here to deliver charcoal in the snow. Her gaze moved down, stopping at the hand covering his abdomen, and she asked doubtfully, what's wrong with you? The river breeze fluttered her clothes. A faint smell of wine lingered on her, mixed with the scent of Lu Fat Y's sachet. A sudden wave of irritation surged in his heart. Did that drinking session end so quickly? Rushing over to the next one, Lang Juju's expression instantly changed, and she raised an eyebrow. What kind of way is that to talk? Did I say something wrong? Wow, his words were full of gunpowder. It seemed he really had just had a big fight with Mo Dao. Lang Juju held back for a long time, forcing a smile to suppress her anger. Brother Lou and I have finished drinking. What does that have to do with anything? I came to find you now, not to drink. Emotan looked up, not even having the interest to tease her. He sneered impatiently. Miss Lang has insomnia again. My sachet is useless now. It doesn't smell as good as Lu Fat Y's. What a petty, grudge-holding ghost. Lang Jiu Chukka. Looking at his face, she guessed his injuries weren't light. She gathered all her courage and grabbed his arm. Can't you think of me in a better light? I specifically came to apply medicine for you. Emotan tried to shake her off a few times, but couldn't. It aggravated his wound, and cold sweat instantly poured down. He was a bit irritated. Let go. Don't move. You lowered her voice, holding on tightly. See, it hurts, doesn't it? She dragged him toward her room, using all her courage to act fierce, and said, if you don't want to alert your sister, then stop rambling here. Emotan immediately stopped struggling. As expected, Emo Dao was the Black Lotus's fatal weakness. It worked every time. Emotan was pulled and dragged by Lang Ju, forced to sit down on a chair. His pitch-black eyes were like stars submerged in a cold pool of water. His entire face was gloomy. Miss Lang, you are being too meddlesome. In the dim room, only the two of them remained. She turned around, her face completely devoid of a smile. Are you sick? Motuki. If you're injured, you need to treat it quickly. If you don't want medicine, fine. She looked at the bright red blood seeping through his fingers and frowned, saying, is it necessary to torture yourself like this? Her expression was unusually serious, as if she were angry, but her eyes held genuine concern, very much like someone from his past. He reached out and looked at the bloodstains between his fingers. The blood had soaked through his clothes and was slowly dripping out. I have never used medicine. So do you have some special ability? Like automatic healing or something? No. Jiu took a deep breath, tactfully concluding, ahem, young Master Emo is truly lucky to be alive until now. Emotan looked at her silently, his expression dark and unreadable. She lifted her skirt, crouched down in front of Emotan, and said softly, let me take a look for you. No need. He covered the wound again, his face cold. I won't apply medicine. Don't be so tense. Jiu felt defeated. I'm not a pervert, and you're not a young maiden. She hesitated for a moment, looked around, and then took out a paper bag. I brought you some delicious food. I originally intended to bring it for you and Sister Emo to taste. Who knew I'd run into you fighting someone else? You were so fierce, looking like you wanted to eat someone. Only a fool would have given it to you then. Emotan looked at his palm. A snow-white, perfectly round steamed bun with an enticingly smooth surface. In the middle was a 5-petaled plum blossom made from the filling, a harmonious blend of white and yellow. Very exquisite. Her voice was incredibly clear, carrying a hint of a young girl's grievance. Don't just look at it, taste it. Jiu crouched in front of him, looking up at him with an excited expression. My family's precious chef made it. It's both beautiful and delicious. Emotan turned away, avoiding her gaze. Jiu sighed inwardly, bit her lip, moved to sit somewhere else, and continued to be thick-skinned. Hurry up and take a bite to taste it. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. Haven't you not eaten anything yet? As soon as she mentioned it, he indeed felt hungry. Emotan took a bite and immediately tasted the sweetness. He looked down. Inside the steam bun was a brown sugar filling. At this moment, the brown sugar had melted. Melted? Is it good? Having finished her sales pitch, Lang Jiu sat on the floor, smiling like an old lady who had finally married off her daughter. The sweetness melted in his mouth. It was so delicious. How long had it been since he had eaten something so sweet? Immediately, hunger and a strange craving overwhelmed him, and in just a few bites, he devoured the steamed bun. Jiu rested her chin on her hands, watching him, and promptly placed another one in his hand. Eat up, there's still plenty. This demeanor. Many years ago, when he was almost beaten to death on the streets for a bite of food, those high and mighty noble ladies had this exact same look of kind charity. If they knew that their pretentious charity was actually feeding a mad dog, they would immediately flee in terror, retreating into their warm cocoons without looking back. Their people would show them tender care and tell them that there was no need to be kind to such wretches. Meanwhile, the endless slaughter in the wind, frost, rain, and snow, the dark night, and death were his true refuge. He clenched his fingers, and the plum blossom on the steam bun was unconsciously crushed out of shape. Hey, don't crush it. Jiu grabbed his wrist with a heartbroken face, her strength no different from a cat's scratch. If you're angry, take it out on me. Don't abuse the food. He let go, saying unhappily, I'm not eating. Jiu let out an ah, suddenly not noticing his mood change. Don't be shy. Young Master Emo, I alone can eat 3 in one go. A manly man like you eating less than me. How can that be? The seemingly real, yet fake images suddenly dissipated miraculously. He vaguely felt that this official's daughter in front of him could not be equated with the young ladies in his memories. Not gentle, not arrogant, not polite at all, simply a weirdo. Tan didn't bicker, accepted the steamed buns, also ate 3 in one go, felt his stomach at ease, and his whole body became more comfortable. Do you watch from the side, feeling a pang of heartache? She just casually said 3. The Black Lotus really could eat. If she had known, she would have said 2, saving 1 for another meal. Du patiently waited for him to finish eating, then happily took out the ointment. A strong medicinal smell wafted from her hands. Done eating. Shall we apply the medicine? Why do you still want to apply medicine? Tan's face darkened again. According to my family's rules, when taking medicine as a child, my father would give me candy first. Eating something sweet makes the medicine less bitter. Lang Juju looked at him with a grin. Otherwise, you apply it yourself, I won't look. The Black Lotus turned his head away, his dark eyes indifferent. No need. I'm not that pretentious. Lang Juju glanced at him, opened the medicine bottle cap herself, muttering as she prepared. Young Master Mo, if you want to live a little longer and stay by Sister Mo's side a little more, you must take good care of your own life. If you die early, wouldn't that benefit others? Tan suddenly raised his eyes. What did you say? Ju looked up, giving an innocent smile. I didn't say anything. She paused for a moment, lowering her head and forgetting to look at the medicine in her hand, then unconsciously muttered a sentence. You resist so much. Could it be that this medicine is useless against wounds caused by demons? No. Tan carelessly wiped the sweat from his hands onto his clothes. In the past, my sister always helped me heal my wounds. The wounds she knew about were all healed. The ones she didn't discover, or the ones he didn't want her to discover, he endured them himself, leaving them to fate. Since it's effective, then hurry up. Your complexion is very poor. Is that so? He curled his lips into a mocking smile. With such a poor complexion, my sister completely failed to notice. Lang Ju hurriedly opened the drawer, found scissors and gauze in the bundle, and even prepared a basin of warm water. What are you doing? Tan watched her running back and forth, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. I'm not giving birth. Isn't this how it's done? Lang Ju felt clumsy and stood there awkwardly, thinking to herself, trashy TV dramas, ruining people. Come here. Tan raised his eyes, his dark eyes sweeping across her face, smiling, yet not smiling. Looking at your appearance, you've never helped anyone apply medicine before, have you? Right. No. She felt a bit guilty, but after a thought, regained her confidence. Pushing out her chest, she said, I consider myself quite experienced. I once treated the leg of a duck at home. It was originally bitten by a cat and became lame, but I chased after it every day and applied medicine to it, and finally, it was cured by me. Her eyes lit up. Am I amazing or what? He gritted his teeth. Give me the medicine. Okay. Lang Ju watched him take off his clothes with one hand, feeling a bit nervous inside. Should I look away? Oof. He let out a laugh with an unclear meaning. His movements paused. If Miss Lang wants to watch, staying is fine too. Tan took off his clothes, the inner garment slowly sliding off his shoulders, and from the corner of his eye, he caught a glimpse of a figure standing motionless behind him. She really was standing behind him, watching. Fine. If you want to look your fill. As the clothes were taken off, Lang Ju was startled. On his jade-like white skin were densely intertwined old whip scars, making the wound that pierced through his body less conspicuous. Miss Lang, don't just space out. Help me hold the scissors. He tilted his head slightly, that beautiful and elegant back facing the light, revealing a glimmer in his eyes. Ivan, Lang Ju instincto fun lao sweet. Wait, what do you need the scissors for? She had just regained her senses and hurriedly screamed out loud, instinctively covering her eyes with both hands, her heart pounding wildly. Through the gaps between her fingers, she saw Tan looking at her coldly, his face frighteningly pale. Washing it with water is enough. Why must you? Lang Ju was about to collapse, looking at Tan with one hand full of blood, and the scissors also in a pool of blood. It truly looked like a murder scene. There was no anesthesia in this world. Wouldn't playing like that really cost a life? The place injured by the water ghost will quickly rot if not washed clean. Tan seemed to have her joke. His forehead was covered with cold sweat as he mocked. Miss Lang looks brave, but unexpectedly, your guts are smaller than a rabbit's. She saw Tan bleeding like a stream. She grabbed the gauze and tremblingly pressed it onto his wound, suddenly hearing him let out a groan. You quickly press it yourself. Juju's hand trembled even more violently, her back drenched in cold sweat. Hurry up, I'm afraid of hurting you. Who would have thought he would dip his blood-stained hand into the basin and then, bringing along warm water droplets, press down on her hand, applying heavy pressure. This was like self-torture. Under such intense pain, he gritted his teeth and said sarcastically, "You can use a bit more force." Lang jiu jiu zi mai motion. She looked quite calm, but in reality, half of her scalp had gone numb. "Mommy, there's a pervert. What are you shaking for?" Emotan suddenly laughed out loud, causing the wound to jolt. Lang Jiu felt her hand warm up, and sure enough, blood gushed out again. Filled with despair, she yelled, "Don't laugh. Shut up." Her right hand held a new piece of gauze as a backup, trying to steady his body, making it look like she was hugging him. Her body had a faint fragrance, the scent of flower petals young ladies usually used for bathing. At this moment, because her body was heating up, the fragrance completely wafted out, separated by a slightly thin layer of clothing, her warm body seemingly pressed closely against his. Cold, truly too cold. Lang Juju, on the other hand, was so hot that her head was covered in sweat. "Are you really okay bleeding like this?" The water gradually lost its warmth. His palm was as cold as ice, and his pale lips began to slowly tremble. "Blood all over my body. I wish it could all bleed out." The person in her arms was trembling violently, shivering. Lang Juju remembered that losing too much blood seemed to cause such symptoms. Oh my God, the Black Lotus had the guts to take down a great demon in the blink of an eye, acting so arrogantly when fighting alone. But it turned out he was using his life to show off. She was so angry she lost the desire to criticize him and could only say, "Let go of me. I'll go get you a blanket." You know I'm cold? Do I even need to say it?" Lang Juju's hand was held tightly by him, unable to move. "Stop talking nonsense. Your body is so cold." Very quickly, Emotan fainted. As time ticked by second, Juju felt uneasy, unable to sit or stand still. "This is probably not good. I must go find Brother Lu." "You dare to go?" Emotan suddenly woke up from his daze, suddenly opening his eyes, his gaze terrifyingly cruel. "All right, I won't go." She didn't dare to act rashly and could only sit down dejectedly. "Hey, don't you have any solutions?" Lang Juju looked at Emotan, who was in a state of semi-shock, with a complex expression, her voice bitter. "If I hadn't come looking for you today, what were you planning to do?" "Nothing." His voice was as light as sleep-talking, his mind in utter chaos, constantly flashing with Mo Dao's serious expression. "Atan, you're the hope of the Mo family." If she knew that the hope of the Mo family not only had such an origin, but was also extremely proficient in drawing reverse-written talismans. How ridiculous! The clear voice beside his ear was still babbling, "Right? Don't you demon-catching Taoists all have some sort of blood-stopping talisman? Or the kind that can cure all diseases when burned and mixed into water to drink?" Emotan let out a cold laugh. "What you're talking about are fake, swindling Taoists." "Then what should we do?" Lang Juju wanted to cry, but had no tears. The blood-stopping medicine in her hand couldn't stop his excessively large wound. "If this continues, you will die." "D? So what if I die?" He gave a mocking smile, his complexion growing colder, his whole body so pale as if he would immediately turn into an immortal in the next second. "No, you cannot die." Lang Jiu stared at him nervously. Seeing him becoming drowsy, she hurriedly raised her voice and said fiercely, "Do you hear me? You cannot die. Quickly think of a way. I will go through a mountain of swords and a sea of fire for you. Otherwise, the moment you faint, I will immediately go call your sister." He said in a low voice, "I cannot use it." Juju crossed her arms. "Why can't you use it? Saving your life is important. Today I made a mistake once. I know you don't want your sister to know about that matter. Don't worry, I won't say half a word. Quickly use it." Emotan's face was as pale as paper. Soaking wet strands of hair plastered to his forehead. His dazed expression made his eyes seem even more pitch black and clean. "Today you saw it. Aren't you afraid?" "Yes, I saw it," she replied perfunctorily, her heart burning with anxiety. Why bother caring about what unorthodox paths they were? As long as it can kill demons, isn't that enough? If it can save your life, why can't it be used? Hurry up. He slowly bent down, leaning against her, his voice soft, seemingly strangely obedient. "You help me." "How do I help you?" "Help me comb my hair." He let go of his hand. Lang Juju's back of the hand was drenched in sweat. She took 2 or 3 steps toward the cabinet, took out a comb, and tremblingly approached the Black Lotus's hair. The hairband, take it off. His voice was vague and ethereal. Lang Juju reached out and pulled his white hairband a bit, and just as she pulled it a bit, she suddenly felt the surrounding air become abnormal. All around her turned into countless whirlpools, spinning and twisting. The person in front of her seemed to possess a fatal attraction, like a snow-white poppy swaying in the wind, luring people to pluck it. Such a poisonous, captivating beauty was like a deity above the 9 heavens, or a devil sinking and floating in the sea of desires, at times unattainably high, at other times extremely depraved. Countless illusions intertwined and transformed. The only constant was a pair of pitch-black eyes, the outer corners slightly raised, brimming with charm. Within those eyes was a galactic whirlpool, overflowing with the purest affection in the world. Just one glance was enough to make one unable to resist getting closer to him, a bit closer, willingly prostrating at his feet, becoming a sacrifice for him, letting him control them. Suddenly, her arm was grabbed and forcefully pulled, causing her to fall bottom first onto the ground. Enough. That mysterious power suddenly dissipated. She felt like someone floating in midair who suddenly fell to the ground, only then feeling as if the internal organs in her body were upside down and out of place. The feeling of pain only now surged as she panted on the ground. His face was as white as snow, yet for some reason, the ends of his eyebrows and the corners of his eyes revealed a bizarrely beautiful color. Even though at this moment his face alternated between hot and cold, his eyes bottomless. Get lost. Stay away from me. Is there anyone who treats their lifesaver like this? She rubbed her arm, which Emotan had hit so hard it hurt, and shrank into a corner. She watched Emotan reach out both hands, slowly and elegantly tying his hairband tightly, and then put on his clothes. She didn't know what kind of dark magic he had absorbed to be so strong. Even now, recalling the surge of power from just a moment ago, she still felt afraid. You're better now. Lang Juju, bored out of her mind, couldn't help but break the silence. Not a single word about what happened today. Otherwise, I will not let you off. His tone was ice cold, stopping mid-sentence. Juju was bewildered. What was wrong with the Black Lotus? Just a moment ago, he was still a little lamb leaning against her chest. How could he suddenly turn hostile in the blink of an eye? Suddenly, a thought flashed through her mind, and she instantly broke out in a cold sweat, stiffening from head to toe. A person who, for the sake of revenge, was so narrow-minded that he would harm someone's entire family. A Black Lotus who saw everything in the world except his sister as utter trash. What kind of conscience could he have? Did he know the consequences of this action in his heart, yet still lured her into doing it step by step? When he roughly threw her down just now, was it because he temporarily changed his mind and let her go? I really should thank you. She squeezed out a sentence through gritted teeth, and Emotan kept his back to her, the hem of his outer robe spreading out like a blooming flower. He remained silent for a moment before laughing mockingly. Miss Lang, being too smart is not necessarily a good thing. Lang Juju leaned her back against the wall. You're wrong, Emotan. True intelligence is only for self-protection, never for harming others. He didn't believe it. If he believed the Mo family were absolutely good people, then on what basis did he not believe there were people like her in the world? Emotan smiled with an unclear meaning and said, Are you talking about yourself? Do you think it's ridiculous for me to equate myself with your sister? Lang Juju tossed and turned for a while, and her stomach growled again. She simply dug out a steamed bun to eat. That's right, she and I are still a bit different. She said while chewing, I am not a broad-minded person, and I don't have that much great benevolence and righteousness in my heart. As long as the people I care about can be safe and happy, I feel that is enough. Right at this moment, she suddenly noticed a long crack under her feet. The boat jolted a bit again, and the crack immediately spurted out several water bubbles. A strange emotion appeared in Emotan's eyes, seemingly curious yet doubtful. You don't resent me? Why would I resent you? She deliberately played dumb, her words laced with thorns. Earlier you said it was an unorthodox method, and it was me who insisted you use it. If I unluckily die, I can only blame my bad fate. Trading my life for young Master MOS life seems quite fair when you think about it. She smiled sweetly. The young man frowned, his gaze instantly turning sharp. He didn't expect the person in front of him, who looked so weak, to have such a big temper inside. Splash! Suddenly, there was a loud noise outside. It seemed the river water had suddenly whipped up huge waves and strong winds. The bottom of the boat began to shake and jolt violently. What's going on? Water is coming in. The sounds outside became noisy, and it seemed many people were running out of their rooms. Ju was stunned by a stream of black, smoke-like gas warning of danger. Her wrist suddenly grabbed by Tan, pulling her across the crack. He pushed her towards the door and said, "Go, tell Lu Fat why to take a two away." Along with the fluctuation of the river water, a stream of black gas suddenly seeped out from the crack. Lang Ju turned her head and saw blood still staining Tan's sleeve. Hesitating a bit, "Can you hold on? Stop talking nonsense. Go quickly." The ends of Tan's hair flew up, and two talismans had already flown out from his sleeves. Seeing her turn her head and run back, he couldn't help but shout angrily, "Didn't I tell you to go? Why are you minding me?" Lang Ju ran a few steps back to the cabinet, quickly grabbing the bundle placed on the low cabinet. "Who's minding you?" I hadn't grabbed my steamed buns yet. Frightened guests gathered on the deck of the boat. Dao's white robes fluttered in the air. "Quick, everyone stand behind me." The sound of a child crying came from the crowd. "Boo-hoo, is the boat going to sink?" "Quick, look at her talismans. She's from the family." "We're saved." Dao reached out her hand, her silk shawl unfurling like a white chain stretching across the sky. She used her silk shawl to hold onto the other half of the boat. Gritting her teeth, her arms trembling, she slowly pulled it back. Crack, creak. The white silk shawl bore the entire weight, stretching to its limit, and Dao's face was extremely pale. She wouldn't be able to hold on much longer. A voice rang out from the crowd. It was that burly man with a fierce expression. He looked around and shouted in fear, "We have to crawl over, otherwise when the chain breaks, we'll definitely die." After saying that, he dashed forward and grabbed Dao's silk shawl first. Don't. Dao turned pale with fright, fresh blood already spilling from the corners of her lips. "Don't come over. Don't pull. I can't hold on anymore." Dao stared at the empty riverbed with an expression of disbelief on her face. Yet her leg was hugged by someone. That burly man crawled over from behind and hugged her leg tightly. "Miss save me. Save me. I don't want to die. I don't want to die." Whoosh! A ray of golden light shot out, and a streak of light resembling a shooting star appeared in the sky. When it stopped, it could be seen that it was a 9-story pagoda. Wherever its light shone, the water ghosts were like water drops thrown into a pan of boiling oil, instantly turning into ashes. Dao's hand was held tightly. She struggled forcefully to get up and fell into Lu Fatwai's arms. His face looked particularly grim. "Daya." Lang Ju looked at the situation, thinking that this black lotus was truly worrying for nothing. With Lu Fatwai and the demon-catching pagoda, Dao will be fine. On the contrary, him facing that large black crack alone was what was truly dangerous. Dangerous. Dark clouds had pierced a hole through the roof of the boat, revealing the pitch-black sky. The bright moonlight was obscured by the dark clouds, and the river surface within a radius of several miles was enveloped in dense demonic aura. Tan's black hair and clothes were blown wildly by the evil wind. In front of him, the surrounding black mist gathered, vaguely revealing half of a human figure. "Is it you? You were the one who killed my husband." The black shadow's voice was soft, like a woman's. "What's the matter?" The male was beaten to death, and now the female brings her entire family, young and old, to seek revenge? He slightly lowered his eyes, carefully looking at his hand. Tan slowly took off the demon-catching ring on his wrist, tilted his head to look at her, seemingly genuinely curious. "Your cultivation level is not enough yet. Aren't you afraid that your water ghost lineage will be completely wiped out today?" The dark clouds surged, revealing a human figure with a slender waist and wide hips. "I heard the head of the family is a woman. So who are you?" "I am Tan. The head of the family is Dao, my sister." Tan smiled slightly, "As beautiful as spring flowers. Unfortunately, to deal with a bunch of mongrels like you, it's not worth my sister taking action. I am enough." The demon-catching ring in his hand instantly flew out like a lightning bolt cutting across the sky. "Anyone who dares to disrespect my sister will only die." Tan, she muttered once, then chuckled softly. An unknown young man could actually kill a ghost king with one strike. "What have you been enduring for so many years?" "What do you know?" That voice suddenly turned sharp. She retreated extremely fast, like a wisp of steam rising to the sky. The shattered hull of the boat swayed left and right. He was for me, all for me. Emotan revealed a cruel smile, the demon catching ring in the air, quickly spinning around like a cat playing with a mouse. I already said it. If your cultivation is not good, there's no need to come out and embarrass yourself. Her voice was gloomy, ringing out above his head. I am about to die. I have nothing left to live for, and I am not afraid of my soul being destroyed. The vicious laughter lingered around like a sleep paralysis nightmare that one couldn't wake up from. The one who is more pitiful is you, Emotan. This is not the place for you. You catch demons so joyfully, but do you still remember your mother in the netherworld? What did you say? Emotan's expression drastically changed. He gritted his teeth, his entire body surging with violent aura, his words almost squeezed out from between his teeth. Say it again. Eternal night as the tomb, parting song as the reed pipe. Little Sanner, you call us mongrels. So what are you, abandoning your pitiful mother to follow a demon-catching family? Water is coming in. The fierce wind howled, rumbling and exploding. The river was turbulent with crashing waves. Seeing the boat about to capsize, the two of them were still fighting. Juju hurriedly picked up a broken mass from the ground, gritted her teeth, and threw it into the water. Help, I don't want to die. If you don't want to die, hold on tight for me. Lang Juju's back was drenched in sweat. She used all her strength to grab one end of the mast. The mast suddenly sank down, and the burly man hugged the other end, the floating debris on the water drawing streaks of blood on his face. Okay. Lang Juju used all her strength, stepping her feet into the water, trying her best to pull that person to the side of the boat. Thank you, heroine. Lang Juju stepped over his limp body and walked towards Lu Fat Y. How far are we from the nearest riverbank? This boat won't be able to go much further. We're almost there. Lu Fat Y looked into the distance ahead with a solemn expression. Lang Juju looked into the cabin a few times. Even the mice and crickets had all run out, but there were no living people. She felt anxious in her heart. Brother Lu, Emotan is still inside. I'll go check on him. Atan hasn't come out yet? Emo Dao was startled, seemingly thinking of something, and her expression softened a bit. He has the demon catching ring on him. He should be able to handle it. Lu Fat Y let go of Emo Dao and said softly, I'll go check. Lu Fat Y took 2 steps and suddenly stopped. Lang Juju followed behind. Lu Fat Y's voice rang out. Atan. Emotan had already stepped out of the cabin. His appearance terrified everyone into standing still. Wherever he walked, it seemed the river water was dyed the color of blood. His soaking wet black hair stuck to the side of his face, and his complexion was as pale as paper. Atan, what happened? Lu Fat Y immediately reached out to support him, but was aggressively pushed away by him. Don't touch me. He bypassed the stunned Lu Fat Y. His eyes were filled with an out-of-control, violent aura, and his gaze stopped on Lang Juju's face for a split second. Then he raised his head and glanced at Emo Dao, his expression extremely complex. Are you all right? Seeing his state, Lang Juju hesitated whether she should support him or not. Emotan took a step closer to her first, his body almost entirely leaning on hers. Hey, hold on tight. Lang Juju struggled to support him. Why did your wound tear open again? She asked in a low voice. After not receiving an answer for a long time, she turned her head only to find the Black Lotus breathing weakly. His long eyelashes drooped and his eyes were half closed. Try to hold on a bit. Don't faint. We're almost at the shore. I won't die. His eyelashes twitched and he sneered with a faint breath. It won't tire you to death. Atan, I have something to ask you. Emo Dao stared at Emotan, her expression unusually serious. Juju was a bit surprised. Why did she want to interrogate him at this moment? She called out, Sister Emo. The cold moonlight reflected in Emotan's eyes. Facing his sister, a rare sarcastic smile appeared on the corners of his lips. It's fine, go ahead and ask, sister. Just now, I caught a minor demon to question and found out that their ghost king was killed by someone from the Emo family, which is why they summoned all the water ghosts on the Yuan River for revenge. I knew absolutely nothing about this matter. Her eyes were clear, deliberately emphasizing the 3 words, M.O., family member. He interrupted her with extreme calmness. I killed him. Atan, Emo Dao was furious. Do you clearly remember what the ancestral teachings are? Every wrong has its root, every debt has its debtor. Only demons that cause harm can be subdued by killing wantonly and without reason. How are you any different from those demons? Do you know how many innocent people lost their lives in this river because of your arrogance and competitiveness? Lang Ju felt Emotan's chest heaving more and more violently, and hurriedly interjected, "Sister Mo, he didn't kill wantonly without reason. He did it because." Her waist was suddenly pinched fiercely by Emotan. She immediately shut her mouth, looking at the Black Lotus with a dissatisfied expression. He slightly raised his eyelids, trying to suppress his dissipating energy, and chuckled softly, arrogant, competitive. "Sister is right. It is all my fault." Ju was in awe of these two siblings. Why didn't Emotan explain? What was he getting angry for no reason? And Mo Dao too. Things had already reached this point, yet her first reaction was to condemn him. Let me interrupt for a moment. Lang Ju used all her strength to support Emotan's body, a layer of hot sweat breaking out on her back. If you want to beat or scold him, let's talk about it slowly. Sister Mo, look at how badly he's injured. Mo Dao's expression softened slightly as she said, "Atan, come here, let me take a look." "Sister." He held tightly onto Lang Ju, refusing to go over. "Would it be better if I just died?" Mo Dao's expression changed. "What nonsense are you saying?" Lang Ju gritted her teeth and dragged the Black Lotus forward. His hot blood stained her skirt again. After dragging him for a while, the weight on her suddenly became incredibly heavy. Hey. Lang Ju turned pale with fright. The Black Lotus had completely passed out. Lu Fat Y strode over. "Dower, Ju, let's bring Atan ashore first. This should be a green bamboo forest. We'll have to make do and spend the night in the woods tonight." The group decided to stay in the bamboo forest overnight. Emotan sank into a dream. A woman's voice, soft and gentle like smooth silk gliding lightly over sand, made one's ears tingle. "Little Shunger, come here. Let me comb your hair. Your hair is exactly like your father's, so long and smooth." Emotan saw the scene in his dream, wondering where this place was. "My hair has grown long again." She spoke softly, sighing with worry. "If only your hair wouldn't grow long." A pair of pitch-black eyes like two grapes belonged to the little boy. The child in the mirror, his feet not yet touching the ground, dangled his legs on the chair. "If I shave it all off, it won't grow long anymore." Childish words, truly naive. The woman smiled. "Even if you shave it all off, it will still grow." Her clear eyes, like autumn water, showed a hint of despair, as if there were some things that, no matter what, simply could not be. He bit his lip and muttered, his long eyelashes covering his eyes. "Can the sun not set? Mother, can you not let me go? I don't want to go out on the streets." The woman gradually faded away. Emotan called out to his mother. Another scene appeared. "Bastard." A whip struck down. "Are you still not going to admit your mistake?" The young man was knocked down by the whip, his spine protruding, his shoulder blades clearly visible. He lay prostrate on the ground, not uttering a single groan. The middle-aged man stared at him with a complex expression, and after a long time, said, "You really are a stubborn one." In the dark woodshed, the servants pointed and whispered, "He really is a natural-born disaster. No matter how much he's taught, it's useless." If it weren't for the young Mississippi Humph, the master and madam were kind-hearted, yet this brat still doesn't know his place. Chill. Those childlike eyes were beautiful, but they exuded a bone-chilling coldness that made people afraid to approach. Whose child am I, really? I lost my parents at the age of 3. Impossible, that can't be. The face reflected in the mirror, talking happily with him. Clearly, at that time, she was still alive. Why did those people lie to him? "You're having so much fun catching demons. Do you still remember your mother in the netherworld, little Tanner?" "Impossible. Why don't I remember anything?" "Of course you don't remember." That voice let out a piercing laugh. "You have long been a descendant of the Mo family. All past matters should be forgotten, shouldn't they?" His hand, holding the demon catching ring, pressed against the other's neck, almost strangling the demon form from the black cloud. His eyes flashed with an uncontrollable ruthlessness. "How much do you know? Tell me everything." The water ghost laughed incessantly. "What is there to worry about in life? What is there to fear in death? You are pitiful, and my death is not to be regretted. Then what do you want? I want to exchange it for your blood. Deal." Cough. As soon as he opened his eyes, he saw the magnified face of a young girl. Immediately after, someone lifted his face and roughly twisted it to the side. "Spit it out. Don't swallow, or you'll choke to death." Blood flowed from his lips onto the grass. Only then was he able to speak hoarsely, be a little gentler. "Ah." Lang Ju sheepishly withdrew her hand. "I'm sorry, did I hurt you?" "Hurt him? His neck was almost snapped, all right? The scenery before his eyes became clear. He found himself covered with Lang Du's outer garment, which still carried the faint, lingering scent of osmanthus characteristic of Jiangnan maidens. Lang Ju raised her head and quietly glanced at Mo Dao and Lu Fat Why not far away, who were leaning against each other resting their eyes. She lowered her voice and said, "It's a good thing you pulled through and woke up after one night. Your sister didn't notice any clues. Did you stay here watching over me all night?" He raised his eyes and saw that Lang Ju hadn't even changed out of her wet clothes. Lang Ju yawned and smiled, saying, it's not like I was specifically watching over you. I couldn't sleep, so I had nothing to do, you know. Emotan said, "I'm awake now. You go to sleep." You didn't stand on ceremony either, immediately lying down on the grass to sleep. "I am Quach Tu, censor of the Ministry of Rights. Thank you, great heroes, for saving my life. May I know your honorable names? Once we return to Chang'an, I will surely reward you handsomely." Mo Dao, thinking of his despicable behavior yesterday that caused half a boat of innocent people to lose their lives, couldn't help but feel cold. Without even lifting her head, she said, "Slaying demons and eradicating evil is the duty of Taoists. There's no need for thanks." Lu Fat Why didn't give him a good look either, replying lukewarmly, "Thank you for your kind intentions, Lord. However, we were originally planning to go to Chang'an anyway." "Then, that is wonderful." Quach Tu's face was full of joy. "It just so happens that I am about to enter the palace. I can help introduce you and arrange accommodations." He paused for a moment, as if thinking of something, and lowered his voice. "May I ask if you're going to Chang'an because of Princess Duanyang's matter?" Mo Dao and Lu Fat Why looked at each other. Mo Dao said coldly, "Your commission is a palace secret. It is not convenient to discuss." Lu Fat Why glared at him. He raised his hand and pointed to the road ahead. "This is the bamboo forest on the border of Xingzi town. If you continue heading east, you will enter the town. We have an injured person who needs to rest, so we will travel slowly. It will be better for Lord Quach to go on ahead. Then I shall respectfully obey and wait for you in Chang'an." Lang Juju's sleeve was tugged by the Black Lotus. Only then did she snap back to reality, not even having time to retract her expression of taking pleasure in others' misfortune. "Have you seen enough of the show?" Emotan was very unhappy. Saw thee, Lang Jiu smiled as brightly as a beautiful spring day, raising her hand to touch his forehead. "Were you feeling uncomfortable?" He tilted his head to dodge, then quickly grabbed her wrist, looking at her with his pitch-black eyes. "Do you really not resent me at all?" "I don't resent you. I don't resent you. I don't resent you." Lang Jiu, Fadawen. "You keep bringing this up over and over again. Aren't you annoyed?" She pulled her hand back and patted his chest, neither too lightly nor too heavily. "I don't blame you. That's just me being generous and broad-minded, not wanting to stoop to your level." She paused for a moment, secretly observing Emotan from the corner of her eye, then smiled again, gloating slightly. "Did you think you possessed absolute charm that made me fall head over heels for you? Or even for young Master Mo to be like this? What else could I possibly want from you?" Emotan gritted his teeth, his expression turning somewhat ugly. Lang Ju looked at his appearance and immediately knew she had accidentally poked a sore spot again. She regretted it immensely and reflected for a moment, finally coming up with a brilliant idea. "You're always so anxious. It must be because I know your secret. If so, I'll just tell you one of my secrets." She racked her brains for a long time, and finally thought of one. Excitedly, she leaned in close to his ear. She covered her mouth with her hand and lowered her voice, afraid of being heard by others. "I only got my first menstrual period this year, for 5 years later than other girls. The night it came, I cried tears of joy. Before that, I thought I was a fake woman." Her whispering voice by his ear made his entire ear, neck, and half of his body go numb. Lang Jiu suddenly noted mo tansha body tense up. As she pulled back slightly, she saw him turn his head away. His face alternated between red and white. His earlobes were flushed, and his tone was somewhat displeased. "Why are you telling me about that? Doesn't this count as a secret? I feel it's very private." She frowned, half doubtful and half cautious. "Do you know what menstruation is?" "I know. Stop talking." A hint of embarrassed annoyance flashed in his ever-bottomless dark eyes. Lang Jiu Fao Zeliet. She stretched her arms and fell back onto the grass. "All right, secret exchange complete. If I dare to reveal even half a word, you can just tell everyone my secret. Now you can rest easy." Suddenly, she saw a shadow flash before her eyes, and then something was stuffed into his mouth. A sweet taste spread. He was slightly taken aback. What was this again? Candied red dates, specifically for replenishing blood. She propped her chin on her hands and smiled. My father says eating red dates every day keeps you healthy and prevents aging. Let go, he mumbled, waiting for Lang Ju to withdraw her hand. He then slowly chewed and swallowed. The candied dates were pitted and cooked with a jiao and cane sugar, making them incredibly fragrant and sweet. Why did she have so many sweets on her? The sweets he had eaten the past few days were more than all the sweets he had eaten since childhood. Too sweet. What's wrong with sweet? Lang Ju raised her hand to block the sunlight, her tone nonchalant. Life is already so bitter, you have to find some sweetness for yourself. She shoved the bag into his hands. For you. Keep them to eat later. Mo Tan was slightly stunned. I don't need them. A voice in his heart kept reminding him, but for some reason, he was sluggish and couldn't raise his hand. Give them back to her. Give them back to her. He didn't need anyone's pity. Ju. A call came from afar. Yes, Brother Lu. Her voice instantly became full of vitality, and she immediately ran off without any lingering attachment. She really left without a second thought. Mo Dao's voice rang in his ear, right by his ear. Are you feeling better? Let me see your injuries. Before he could fully recover his wits, he hurriedly hid the candied dates behind his back. His heart was beating wildly. It had been a long time since he felt so nervous. And then he felt extremely bewildered. What on earth was he doing? Sister, he opened his eyes to look at Mo Dao's calm and caring face. And out of habit, he put on a pitiful look. It hurt so much. A flash of heartache appeared on Mo Dao's face. But right after, she put on a stern expression. Atan, you made a huge mistake this time. You cannot be so willful in the future. I know, sister. He pretended to be obedient and looked at her attentively, but his heart was filled with bitterness. Did his sister know about that? The things he couldn't figure out, did she remember? No. Mo Dao was completely different from the Mo family. Every time he was beaten and then locked in the woodshed, it was always Mo Dao who released him in the middle of the night and personally applied medicine for him. A few scalding drops fell on his back. Those were her tears. In his life, only his sister was trustworthy. All right, I won't scold you anymore. Rest well and recover your health. Mo Dao suddenly frowned in doubt. Atan, has the aura on you grown heavier again? You. It was as if lightning flashed above Mo Tan's head, his heart instantly beating like a drum. Sister Mo, Brother Lu is calling you over. Lang Jiu Sudenli Apo Behin Mo Zhao. Mo Dao was pulled away by Lang Jiu. As Lang Jiu walked away with her arm around Mo Dao, as if she had eyes on the back of her head, she tossed a sachet to Mo Tan with a backhand throw. The sachet drew an arc in the air, then fell into his hand. It was soft fabric hastily torn from skirt, soaked in gardenia hair oil. The strong, pungent scent, attracting attention, was enough to disrupt the sense of smell and overpower the scent on his body. Lu Fatwai said, drawing talismans is very complex and difficult for beginners to master. I will give you some pre-drawn talismans first. Keep them with you and use them in emergencies. Lu Fatwai's slender fingers took out a stack of yellow talisman paper, divided it into several piles, and pointed at the complex characters on the talismans, explaining them one by one. This is a peace talisman to wear on your body. This is a communication talisman. You have seen me use it before. Lang Jiu, not that. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw Mo Dao constantly looking in this direction with a cold expression, not even hearing Mo Tan speak. She secretly apologized to Mo Dao because, according to her mission, Jiu needed to sufficiently increase her affection level with Brother Lu. In this bamboo forest, Brother Lu, how should this be used? She opened her eyes wide with an innocent look, moving a little closer to Lu Fatwai. Watch me demonstrate it once. His fingers moved, slow at first, then fast. Just a few simple movements, but as sharp as the wind. It was as if dust and sand were flying from his fingertips. I have taught you the incantation. Give it a try. Lu Fatwai handed the talisman to her. Lang Jiu took a deep breath, muttered to herself, and awkwardly waved her hands twice in a comical manner. Her stiff, jerky movements looked partly like a little girl playing cat's cradle and partly like a grandmaster performing a ritual. Not like that. Lu Fatwai frowned, but seeing her embarrassed expression, he could only smile helplessly. It's too hard, I can't learn it. Lang Jiu looked at her hands in disappointment, cursing Lang Gu 1,000 times in her heart. System. Is it enough? Is it finally enough? I don't want to play the fool. In the original story, Lang-gu was like a young girl in the passionate stage of love. Not only did she dress up and flutter around like a butterfly, but she also intentionally pretended to be unable to learn magic, tricking Lu Fat-Wai into teaching her over and over again, which made Mo Dao extremely angry. Just with a peace talisman to be safe. Lu Fat-Wai sighed, then took a sip of water to soothe his smoking throat. Let's take a break and then continue learning. Half a day had passed, and Lu Fat-Wai was still very patient, but she was getting a bit tired of acting like an idiot. The system did not answer her. She couldn't help but recklessly glance at Emoton. If Mission 1 isn't even completed, is there any hope for Mission 2? Watching Juju learn, Mo Dao asked Atan, do you still remember? When you were little, you insisted on learning the communication talisman. Emoton didn't expect her to remember that too, and a smile unconsciously appeared on his face. Yes, sister asked me why I wanted to learn the communication talisman. At that time, I thought Atan had finally grown up and knew not to be lazy. She chuckled. I didn't expect you to say you wanted to chat with me while I followed father to catch demons. It really infuriated me. Emoton smiled faintly, a hint of darkness in his eyes. Actually, sister. Lu Fat-Wai and Lang Jiu stood opposite them, taking a break. Ziu. Lang Jiu was startled and immediately snapped back to reality. She saw a look of complete understanding on Lu Fat-Wai's face. He stared at her calmly. Did you do it on purpose? Oh crap, I've been found out. She hurriedly waved her hands. No, it's not like that, Brother Lu. Lu Fat-Wai raised a finger, stopping her hasty explanation, and gave a meaningful smile. Do you want Atan to come teach you himself? Teach. Wait a minute. I think you've misunderstood something. Lang Jiu stood dumbao. No, it's not. Before she could stop him, Lu Fat-Wai waved his hand and called out happily, Atan, come here. Lang Jiu watched as the Black Lotus, who was just preparing his deeply affectionate script with his sister, was interrupted halfway. He was pulled away from Mo Dao by Lu Fat-Wai and dragged in front of her. His expression could no longer be described with just the words covered in dark clouds. I've already given Jiu the talismans. You teach her some self-defense magic. Jiu broke into a cold sweat. There's no need, really no need. Finally, Lu Fat-Wai glanced at her and smiled as he instructed her, though that smile looked peculiar no matter how you looked at it. Be serious this time. After saying that, he walked away coolly, his silhouette seemingly bearing the words, Brother Lu can only help you this much. Lang Jiu and the Black Lotus stood face to face, completely still. He looked at her with deep, dark eyes, a mocking smile hanging on his face. Without saying a word, a heavy, dark aura pressed down from all sides. I'm sorry. Jiu forced a smile that looked more unnatural than crying. It's all because I'm too stupid. I made Brother Lu so angry that he left. She glanced at the Black Lotus's expression, losing more confidence with every word she spoke. Just then, a gust of wind blew by, fluttering the green hair ribbon on her bun, brushing past her clear eyes beneath long eyelashes. Is this an ordinary young woman of this world? Not sister, not that person. In the mirror, it wasn't an eternal beauty like ice and snow on a mountain peak, but a fragile, worldly beauty. What you learned? He was silent for a moment, his face not revealing a single clue. Lang Jiu braced herself and spread out the talismans Lu Fat-Wai had given her, speaking quickly. Teach me one more time. I promise I'll learn it very fast. But I don't want to teach right now. He shot her a sidelong glance, his tone indifferent and completely matter-of-fact, calm and cruel. Lang Jiu felt extremely guilty. She carefully recalled the original plot and remembered a childhood memory of the two siblings in the bamboo forest. This was a rather warm plot point before Mo Dao and Emoton turned against each other, and this remaining bit of warmth had been disrupted by her. If you won't teach me, then don't. She accepted it, muttering, learning a bit later is fine too. After all, in this world, things that shouldn't happen won't happen, and things that are meant to happen cannot be escaped. The group continued on their journey. Emoton remained silent along the way, as if thinking about something. His Qilin-embroidered boots rustled every time he stepped on the grass. Hai, Mo Tang. Jiu gathered her courage. How about we have a chat? What do you want to talk about? Emoton looked at the road ahead without blinking. While she was still thinking of a good opening line, he frowned, turned around, and tightly grabbed her wrist, pulling her in front of him, showing no tenderness toward the fairer sex. The scent on your body gives me a headache. Jiu hurriedly sniffed her clothes. What scent? Lang Jiu, Ponde. The hair oil? That's a bit unreasonable. By now, the gardenia scent had faded so much that it could no longer be smelled. Besides, Emoton, you also got this scent on you to save your own little life. How do you have the nerve to criticize me? No. His eyes were pitch black. He held out his hand. She touched the sachet. He was still smiling, but his tone was clearly displeased. You don't want to give it? He took out a sachet from his sleeve. Then I'll trade with you. That's not very good. Lang Ju hesitated. I've already used this one, trading it for your new one. Lang Ju had completely forgotten that. Including the previous time in the front hall, this was already the second time she had rejected him over a sachet. Emoton's expression was extremely displeased. The things she completely disregarded, he remembered every single one of them clearly. Emoton's eyes were very dark, unconsciously revealing a stubborn persistence. Reluctant to part with it, Lang Ju got a little angry. That's not it either. Brother Lu gave it to me, so it's mine. If you don't like the smell, just stay away from me. Why must you force me, right? Ripples filled his eyes as a talisman was swiftly slapped onto her back. You're right. Lang Ju opened her mouth wide as a numb sensation spread from her fingertips to her entire body. She found her body suddenly as stiff as a puppet. She could only move her eyes, feeling extremely terrified inside. I can't move. Emoton lowered his eyes, his fingers brushing past her lapel with 2 quick swipes, and the sachet was already in his palm. He held Lu Fat Y's sachet in his hand and leisurely tied his yellow sachet in its original place. Then he tilted his head and observed her for a moment, as if checking whether her face suited the new sachet. Finally, he looked at the sachet in his hand and suddenly took out a talisman. The talisman curled up and then produced a blue flame. The flame burned silently, instantly reducing Lu Fat Y's sachet to ashes. As the ashes fluttered away, the air was filled with the smell of burning herbs. He clapped his hands, then with a rip, tore off the talisman on Juju's back. His pitch-black eyes stared intently at her as he chuckled softly. Much better now. Lang Ju couldn't help but step back twice, looking at the black lotus as if looking at a monster. Scared just from that? He turned and walked away, his mouth curling into a mocking smile. So much for broad-minded and forgiving. It's nothing special, no different from anyone else. Unexpectedly, after taking only 2 steps, the person behind him chased after him, panting. Wait, stop right there. Turning around, he saw Lang Juju's face burning with anger. What did you just stick on me? She didn't wait for him to answer. After asking fiercely, she held out her hand. The anger on her face lasted only for a moment before she smiled shamelessly. That works so well. Give me one. Lang Juju's mood was quite calm. She couldn't treat him like a normal person. If this person wasn't dark to the bone, he wouldn't be the Black Lotus. Emoton's gaze fell on her palm, his footsteps slowing down. I already gave you the sachet. You're playing dirty. Didn't you trade that with me? He scoffed, lowering his eyes to look at the sachet that had turned into ashes on the ground, and asked, Trade what? He wasn't even bothering to be reasonable. Lang Ju was in awe, destroying her sachet and refusing to admit it. Is there anyone in this world more unreasonable than him? Having finally managed to destroy all evidence of the sachet that had been an eyesore for months, Lang Ju noticed that Emoton was in an extremely good mood. He even took the initiative to talk to her. Didn't you say you wanted to chat? Then let's chat. Lang Ju listlessly flipped through the talismans in her hand. When you were little and learned these types of magic, it must have been very easy, right? Emoton looked at her for a while. Then, fooling around, these basic types of magic are truly very difficult. The moves that Miss Lang just used were all ones I used when I was young. Unexpectedly, the Black Lotus saw through her with just a single glance. Then it really is a coincidence. Emoton looked at Lu Fat Y in the distance, his black eyes carrying a cold smile. I advise you to wake up. What isn't yours will never belong to you. Hearing this, Lang Ju frowned. Where is your mind wandering? I only see Brother Lu as an older brother. Emoton acted as if he had heard a joke. I also only see Emo Dao as an older sister. He suddenly fell silent. The two locked eyes. Lang Ju tried to retract her shocked expression, while Emoton remained stunned. A secret no one knew, the highly rebellious thoughts that even he himself had never admitted were so easily blurted out in front of her like this. Things couldn't continue this way. He had to let her leave. Lang Du steadily bore the pressure, resiliently changing the subject. Right, that day on your back there were so many scars. Were they all caused by demons? Emotan snapped back to his senses, his eyes immediately covered in darkness. Demons wouldn't leave marks on my body. She couldn't help but be surprised. Then those are. He smiled faintly. Naturally, they're the masterpieces of humans. Emotan revealed an extremely sarcastic smile. That is the Mo family's domestic discipline. He was essentially just a shield for the Mo family to protect Mo Dao. The concubine cried. I raised him without minding the hardship. Yet not only does he fail to protect Dower even has to protect him instead. Madame Mo, with a headache, said, Concubine Dung, say a few words less. Dower just fell asleep. Don't wake her. The concubine retorted, Dower isn't your biological child, so your heart doesn't ache for her, right? She gritted her teeth and glared at Emotan. It's all because of you that Dower got hurt. Then, she raised her hand to physically abuse the little Emotan. You brat, I won't let you off. Under her forceful blows, the young boy fainted and fell to the ground. The metallic stench of blood was sickening. Madame Mo called out again. Atan quickly apologized to your Aunt Dung. If anything happens to Dower, you will have to pay with your life. Apologize, you sinful creature. The boy, in pain and with tears in his eyes, apologized. I'm sorry, sister. She went mad with anger. Who are you apologizing to? Emotan crawled up, snorting, I'm only apologizing to my sister. The concubine continued to cry and list his crimes. Master is truly unfortunate. It was solely to protect Dower that he raised this brat. Who would have thought he'd be a plague? Now he even dares to act arrogant and look down on everyone. The heavens truly have no eyes. Oh God. Oh, Mo family. Master Mo stood up and asked Emotan, do you know your crime? The boy said, I'm sorry, sister. Emotan's tears rolled down. I'm sorry, sister. Seeing Emotan's stubbornness, he raised the whip and lashed down again. You bastard child, still refusing to admit your wrongdoings. Next time you encounter demons, will you still hide? Even if you have to die, you must protect Dower. You cannot let her get hurt, understood? Madame Mo defended Emotan. Master, the boy is still a child. Why must you use domestic discipline? The concubine added fuel to the fire. Sister, whose family does he belong to now? Sparing his life wasn't for nothing. Madame Mo looked pityingly at the child lying in agony on the ground. She approached and rubbed his head. Perhaps, from the very beginning, we shouldn't have brought you back here. That is the Mo family's domestic discipline. Lang Juju only remembered the original novel stating that Mo Dao's parents were cold to him, but she never expected it to be to this extent. She couldn't help but feel a bit disgusted and muttered, how cruel. What did you say? Lang Juju sigh. Nothing. I was just thinking, are the so-called demon-catching noble families definitely righteous? Just because they have merit in catching demons for the world, doesn't mean they won't make mistakes in other matters. Emotan was silent for a moment. What does this mean? It means they went too far. Lang Juju looked at him. That day, I saw your wounds. That wasn't normal domestic discipline. Absolutely no one would use such a method to teach a child. Domestic discipline. I'm afraid it's more like domestic violence. Emotan smiled carelessly. It's because I didn't protect my sister well that I was beaten. Lang Juju sighed. Why must you always protect your sister? She asked the question that had been suppressed in her heart ever since reading the novel. Can't there be someone to protect you? Emotan's gaze paused for a moment. In that instant, the Milky Way in the sky seemed to flow backward, converging together toward the origin of the universe. There won't be. He curled his lips, watching the sun slowly set toward the horizon, and said calmly, me trying not to die is enough. You thought that if it weren't for this fate, at his age, he would definitely be his parents' precious treasure. Then she felt foolish. Why did she keep poking at his painful wounds? Hurry up and change the subject. The atmosphere suddenly fell quiet. Lang Juju coughed a few times, raising the talisman in her hand. Are you still going to teach me? Emotan turned his head to look at her. Don't use the talisman. I'll teach you the bursting spark. 1 second ago, she was lamenting the changing seasons for the Black Lotus. The next second, Lang Juju almost jumped up. Really? The Mo family's ultimate move, bursting spark? Did I just pick up an artificial golden finger? Emotan smiled and grabbed her hand, adjusting it for a long while into a twisted posture. His hand accidentally brushed against the hem of her clothes a few times, making her feel slightly ticklish. I will only say the incantation once. He muttered it once in a low voice, then let go of her hand. You do it. Lang Jiu squeezed her eyes shut, nervously chanting the incantation. Immediately after, with a boom, a beautiful spark blossomed and exploded right at her fingertips. Wow, Mo Tang. Her eyes shone brightly. You're so amazing. And Mo Tan smiled, looking at her for a long time before lowering his eyes, a trace of coldness flashing in them. The truth proved that a person shouldn't be too smug. Being too smug makes it easy to fall flat on your back. Lang Jiu suddenly missed her step. While falling into the trap, she was still immersed in the beauty of the spark. In the moment of her rapid descent, she saw Mo Tan's calm expression. His lips parted and closed, his eyes carrying a hint of a smile, saying, "Be careful." She seemed to have realized something and couldn't help but scream upwards. Did you see there was a trap here from the start? Rumbling sounds echoed around her, and Mo Tan's face had long disappeared. He wanted her not to join their journey. That would be better for Lang Jiu. She kept falling, instinctively closing her eyes, crashing into the foliage. It seemed as if something quickly grabbed her limbs, and then she was tied up tightly. Her back felt cold and hard. Cold wind blew from all directions, pouring into her collar and sleeves. She opened her eyes. This was a cave devoid of light. Beside her was a bamboo tree, but this bamboo tree was abnormal. Looking closely, it turned out to be a bamboo person using branches and leaves as arms. Jiu was a bit scared. Oh my god, a demon. The bamboo person spoke with a very funny nasal voice. Little girl, you're wearing green clothes that blend into the forest so much, making it hard for us to spot you. Lang Jiu looked down at the green clothes on her body, thinking to herself, is that my fault? The scariest plot line in the bamboo forest had finally arrived. The foolish Lang, in charge of dragging the team down, gets captured by demons. And it would take a whole night before she was rescued by the main characters. So she was forced to stay with these bamboo trees for a night. Lang Jiu sighed. This brother, what kind of demon are you? Are you blind? Can't you see for yourself? The bamboo person became angry out of embarrassment, its nasal voice growing even heavier. Bamboo can also become spirits? Lang Jiu revealed a look of astonishment. The next second, she was viciously whipped by a bamboo branch, not a spirited demon. The pain made her shut her mouth instantly, a layer of cold sweat breaking out on her forehead. She couldn't help but question the system in her heart. Damn it, does completing missions also come with life-threatening dangers? The system continued to play dead. Lang Jiu, the most tragic transmigrator in history, also wanted to kick her legs and commit suicide. By her ear, there was even the swish-swish sound of bamboo branches sharpening a knife, making her shudder in fear. Hey, big brother bamboo demon. She deliberately emphasized the word demon, then pressed her back tightly against the cliff wall. Like you guys, naturally green creatures, you must be vegetarians, right? Oomph. The funny nasal voice sounded again, but this time Lang Jiu didn't find it cute at all. My child is about to have its 1-month-old celebration banquet. I wanted to catch a human to make clothes for it. That's fine, I know how to make clothes. Lang Jiu continued. I made clothes for my family's chickens, ducks, and dolls. As for a little bamboo, she thought carefully it should be a bamboo shoot. How should clothes for a bamboo shoot be made? Probably similar to corn husks. The bamboo spirit paced back and forth, somewhat irritated, its green shadow flickering in front of her. Summer is too hot. Winter is too cold. I must make it a new set of clothes that are easy to wear. Your skin, which needles cannot pierce, is very suitable for my child. Creak, creak, creak. The sound of the knife sharpening slowly approached, making her ears half numb. The bamboo slowly poked forward. As soon as Lang Jiu saw this sharp awl, she was terrified. Her legs couldn't help but turn to jelly. You plan to use me to make clothes? The bamboo demon laughed out loud. The previous person was too old. The wear wouldn't last. You're suitable. Ridiculous. Lang Jiu's hands were tied. She struggled and backed away. Do you know who I am? My sworn brother is Lu Fat Y. Even if the demons had never heard of the male protagonist's great name, his super powerful magical artifact, the 9 profound demon subduing pagoda, should have some intimidating power, right? Liu Peachete? The bamboo demon was stunned for a moment, then smiled coldly and said, Little girl, you don't have a single trace of Lu Fat Y's aura on you, yet you still dare to lie to me. Lang Jiu was shocked, then finally remembered that the scented sachet had been taken away by Mo Tan. She couldn't help but feel despair in her heart. Don't touch me. I was brought here by Mo Dao, the head of the Mo family. They will be here immediately. People of the Mo family. The bamboo demon let out a vicious laugh. A deep sea of blood feud. It has arrived at the perfect time. If she comes looking, I will hang your corpse at the front door. Men, skin her and start the banquet. Lu Fat Y collected 2 pouches of water from the head of the stream. One pouch he quietly placed in front of Mo Dao, who was hugging her knees and resting her eyes. The other pouch he prepared to give to Lang Jiu. Atan, where's Jiu? He walked over and saw Mo Tan standing alone under a tree, his hands clasped behind his back, lost in thought. Haven't seen her. He turned around, the corners of his mouth seeming to hold a smile, his jade-like eyes staring motionlessly at him. It was a kind of reply full of hostility. Lu Fat Y was startled. She was just with you. Why is she nowhere to be seen now? Perhaps she ran off somewhere to play. Mo Tan indifferently turned around, wanting to leave, but was firmly grabbed by the shoulder by Lu Fat Y. His expression was serious. Jiu doesn't know magic, and you let her run around alone. Mo Tan gently pushed his hand away, revealing an aloof smile. If you're so worried, go find her yourself. Why bother asking me? Such an incomprehensible attitude made Lu Fat Y slightly angry. Mo Tan, stop right there for me. What's wrong? Their arguments startled Mo Dao. Mo Tan's mouth slightly curved up, looking into Lu Fat Y's bright eyes, and said something extremely aggrieved. Sister, please judge for me. Lang Jiu ran around on her own, and he blamed me for not keeping an eye on her. Along the way, Mo Dao had had enough of Lang Jiu fluttering back and forth like a butterfly. She looked at Lu Fat Y, her calm voice unconsciously carrying a hint of sarcasm. I guess if she didn't go catching butterflies, she went picking flowers. She will be back in a moment. Dower, she's not like you and me. Lu Fat Y looked around. Everywhere was a dense bamboo forest. Lang Jiu has left home for the first time and has no sense of direction. What if something happens? If something happens, it's also your responsibility. Mo Dao looked at him. You were the one who wanted to bring her along. She blinked, not wanting to talk about others' right and wrong anymore, and added, besides, didn't you already teach her magic? That's right. I even taught her bursting spark. Mo Tan put on an extremely innocent look. If there is danger, she can definitely handle it. Atan, Mo Dao's eyes were filled with astonishment and a bit of reproach. Don't worry. Sito, Mo Tang Smai Gen Li. I taught her, but whether she learned it or not, I don't know. Thud, thud, thud. She fell to the ground, dizzy and disoriented, vaguely seeing a group of little demons like jointless wooden puppets twisting and turning as they rushed toward her. No way. System, save me, I'm dying. The air suddenly fell silent. In her line of sight, the pale green leading little demon was bending over to observe her. The system was as quiet as a mouse. Could it be that she was wiped out, thrown into this world all alone? A terrifying chill covered her. Stop, don't touch my clothes. Lang Jiu opened her mouth and bit a bamboo branch, feeling like she was biting into a bamboo mat, dry and hard. I can't take it off, she bites. The little demon said in a childlike voice, carrying a bit of grievance. You're all going to die anyway. Why keep your dignity? All of you, attack together. Don't touch me. Don't come here. If you come here, I will. Lang Jiu shrank into a corner, facing a patch of bright green blocking her way out. Just now, when being dragged on the ground, she had felt a sharp piece of stone. Currently, she was stalling for time while cutting the ropes behind her back. The rope only had a few strands left and was already loose. You little demons, although I learn magic as I use it, you might not be able to withstand the talismans written by Lu Fat Y. Finding the right moment, Lang Jiu hastily let go and touched her chest, but it was empty. The blood in her whole body seemed to flow backward. The talisman. Where's the talisman? Her mind froze, recalling the scene where Mo Tan taught her bursting spark. He stood beside her, correcting her posture, his hands seemingly brushing past her lapel. At that time, she even felt it was strange. So it was then. He didn't even leave Lu Fat Y's protective talisman for her. She managed to escape. Quickly, catch her. The little demon's shouts pierced her eardrums. In desperation, Lang Jiu fired a bursting spark. toward them. Go to hell. The little demons instinctively backed away. A hole appeared among the green crowd. A few seconds of awkward silence passed. It didn't explode. She looked like a fool playing cat's cradle, maintaining her twisted, stiff posture in the air. A cold, self-deprecating laugh flashed through her mind. Idiot. Bursting Spark is the MO family's signature move. How could it be easily taught to an outsider? She was a dangerous stranger who knew two important secrets: the reverse riding talisman and his secret crush on his sister. Perhaps from the very beginning, Tan had never trusted her, nor had he ever intended to let her live. She tricked us. She doesn't know magic at all. A group of little demons rushed forward. The leader was so angry that it raised its arm to strike her first. If they can't do anything to you, then let me lower myself and make a set of clothes with my own hands. Lang Ju looked down at the bamboo as sharp as a dagger and thought calmly. Usually, villains die from talking too much, but it certainly wouldn't talk until tomorrow morning. Could it be that tomorrow, when the protagonist group comes to save her, she will already be a corpse? Time of death. Time of death. 0 hour. She shuddered and shook her head. It's better to blow herself up. Even in death, she wouldn't become a cordyceps beauty. The sharp all advanced an inch. She felt a slight itch on her chest, and then her body suddenly became burning hot. The next second, a thin wisp of smoke rose. It's smoking. The little demons gaped. Boom, a blue flame flared up like a fierce leopard, silently devouring the bamboo branch in an instant. Lang Ju looked up and saw that the sharp weapon in the bamboo demon's hand had been burned away, leaving only a piece of incense ash. A little demon reached out a fingertip and gently poked it. Poof! It crumbled all over the ground. The bamboo demon looked at the broken hilt in its hand in disbelief. Lang Ju wept tears of extreme joy. Was this the system? The system is alive. The mighty system, theoretically, fresh bamboo, is very hard to burn, but the blue flame was truly like a phantom. It could silently swallow everything in the blink of an eye, turning all living creatures into black ash. As long as it was something that threatened her life, it would die immediately. Ju happily lay down and scratched her butt. So sleepy. You guys just take your time and try. If anyone succeeds, call me. That night, the bamboo demon lost an arm, but still didn't believe it. It used all sorts of methods to kill Lang Ju, like chopping with a knife, throwing stones, burning with fire, drowning with water, and smashing with an iron pot. Lang Ju shrank into the corner, watching the black ash in front of her accumulate pile after pile. The bamboo demon was so angry that its eyes widened, while the blue flame worked with extreme proficiency. Seeing this, she simply slept peacefully through the night. The feeling of having a golden cheat code was truly too wonderful. Early the next morning, before the sun had even risen, the cave started to shake along the fractured ground. The bamboo demons fled everywhere, like a swaying green ocean. Lu Fat Y stomped his foot, pierced through the cave, and attacked. He brought the first brilliant ray of sunlight of a new day, overcoming thorns to save her. Lang Ju muttered to herself, "The original text really didn't lie to me." Lu Fat Y was truly anxious. Seeing her huddled in a corner, he arrived in front of her in a flash. "Brother Lu, what's wrong?" Lu Fat Y looked her up and down, seeing her body covered in bloodstains, and momentarily didn't know what to do, his face full of guilt. "It's all my fault for letting you fall into the demon's trap. It's okay. They're all superficial wounds." Lang Ju saw the two siblings behind Lu Fat Y. Both of their expressions were very strange. Mo Dao, having slashed and killed her way through. The bamboo demons heard Lu Fat Y's words and looked over, her face showing complex guilt. As for Mo Tan, he glanced at them from afar, his expression dark and unclear. Lu Fat Y took off his cloak, draped it over her, and pulled her out of the cave. After comforting her, his expression became serious again. Ju, when in danger, why didn't you use the communication talisman to contact us? He saw the wounds all over her body and felt suspicious. Also, the peace talisman I gave you, did you take it off yourself? Didn't Atan teach you bursting spark? When they hurt you, why didn't you use it? Even if you could only release a spark, It would have been enough to deal with these bamboo demons, right? Facing a series of questions, Lang Juju's inner thoughts were extremely complicated. In short, she couldn't tell Lu Fat why directly that she didn't have the talisman, and even the bursting spark was just playing with her. It was all a scheme by the Black Lotus to silence her. Without knowing when Mo Dao and Mo Tan had finished off all the bamboo demons and were standing quietly behind Lu Fat Y. The talisman I gave you. She met Mo Tan's dark eyes, gave him a deep look, and then smiled sheepishly, saying, I accidentally lost it. Lu Fat Y was so angry he couldn't speak, almost unable to resist grabbing her collar. You can lose anything, but how could you lose a life-saving talisman? If I had known, I should have drawn the talisman on your clothes. Hearing this, Mo Dao and Mo Tan's expressions both became very ugly, although the reasons were different. Mo Tan was startled. She actually didn't expose him and even covered for him. I'm sorry, Brother Lu. Next time I will definitely keep it safe. I absolutely won't run around. Juju bravely accepted the precious anger of the male lead, her attitude extremely sincere, only hoping Lu Fat Y would quickly calm down and not provoke the poor female lead anymore. Who would have thought? The more Lang Juju yielded, the more it aroused Lu Fat Y's desire to protect her. In his eyes, Juju's small face was pale, her body covered in injuries, terrified all night, unable to even stand straight, yet still having to apologize to him. He felt even more self-reproach in his heart, his expression cold. Then where's the bursting spark? Didn't Atan teach you? Lang Juju hurriedly said, Sister Mo was right. Young Master Mo taught me very seriously. It was because I was frightened by the bamboo demons that I forgot. The incantation. Lu Fat Y's face was full of suspicion. Really? Lang Juju, not that? Really? Think about it. I can't even remember talismans. The incantation for bursting spark is so difficult. It's forgivable that I forgot it. Mo Dao, turn around. If Miss Lang is fine, let's quickly get on our way. Passing through this bamboo forest, we can reach Chang'an. Today was already the 10th day since their departure. The green bamboo here was becoming sparser, and the noisy voices from the town could vaguely be heard. Kitchen smoke curled up from afar, signaling that the bamboo forest dungeon had come to an end. Mo Tan's footsteps were very light, like a cat's. His figure, seemingly there yet not, followed patiently behind Lang Juju. Lang Juju clutched her cloak tightly and walked fast without turning her head. Lang Mu. Mo Tan finally couldn't bear it and called out her full name. I told you not to call me Lang Go. I am Lang Juju. Lang Ju. Ju's tone was not very good. Before finishing her words, she turned her head and continued walking. Mo Tan immediately caught up with her, the ends of his hair swaying in the air, his eyes showing an inquiring, studying look. Don't you have anything to say to me? Lang Juju shook her head expressionlessly, her footsteps flying fast, as if even glancing at him was a waste of life. Mo Tan leaned sideways, formally blocking her way. She went left. He stretched out his left arm to stop her. She stepped back and went right. He extended his right arm, revealing the silver Qilin pattern on his sleeve. He stood straight in front of her, only able to see the top of her head with its shiny black hair. Lang Juju adamantly refused to make eye contact with him, continuously keeping her head down and staring at his feet, making him somewhat suspect if she was planning to viciously stomp on him a few times. Left with no way to retreat, Lang Juju finally raised her head and sneered, Don't block me. What do I have to say to someone who is dead set on killing me to silence me? If you hate me so much, why did you lie just now? Mo Tan's eyes held some bewilderment. Lang Juju found it strange. Is this still that cunning Black Lotus? That's because I was thinking of the big picture. I don't want there to be conflicts among you. Sacrificing myself to bless thousands of families, understand? The Black Lotus didn't utter a word. He lowered his eyes. The scent on Lu Fat Y's cloak gives me a headache. Not this again. Lang Juju was already choking on a belly full of anger. You're too nosy. Stay away from me. Let both of us have some peace. Mo Tan reached out and tightly grabbed her cloak, only to be slapped on the hand by her. Don't touch it. This time she was truly angry, spitting out 2 words, I'm cold. Mo Tan reached out, intending to take off his own cloak, but heard her sneer, I don't want young Master Mo's. I want Brother Lu's. His eyes immediately darkened, the corners of his mouth pressed tightly together, his voice very low. Am I that inferior to Lu Fat Y? Lang Dujiu replied sarcastically. After all, the person who taught me magic was Brother Lu, and the person who came to save me was also Brother Lu. You know best in your heart what you have done. Emotan looked at her for a while, saying, I gave you a fragrant sachet. Mentioning this made Lang Juju even more irritated. Brother Lu's fragrant sachet could at least scare away little demons. What the hell is the use of your fragrant sachet? The Black Lotus's expression changed instantly, seemingly trying to suppress his anger. She lifted her cloak, wanted to untie the fragrant sachet. Who wants your fragrant sachet? Take it back. But after tugging for a long time, her hands turning red, she discovered that this fragrant sachet was hung using magic, floating at her waist, following her wherever she went, and couldn't be untied no matter what she did. Fine. Emotan looked coldly, seemingly wanting to say something, but then stopped. A moment later, he turned his head away. Miss Lang, as you can see, we are not on the same path. If you back out now, we can escort you home safely. From here on out, the sky is high and the sea is vast. Everyone goes their separate ways. Oh, Lang Juju interrupted. She felt she understood a bit now. You deliberately made things difficult for me, wanted me to back down in the face of difficulties and leave you all. Her arrival had broken the delicate balance of the three people. Her disturbance not only affected Lu Fat Y, but also affected a Black Lotus who was originally single-minded. Initially, he let her stay because he wanted to deal with Lu Fat Y, but who would have expected her to get closer and closer to him. He wasn't used to it, so he panicked, so he harbored hatred, wanting to eliminate future troubles forever. This person is truly wicked. Her competitiveness immediately soared 10 zhang high. Her chestnut hair shone under the sun, softly falling on both sides, and the anger in her eyes slowly receded. She smiled. Then I'm going to disappoint you. Not only do I want to go to Truong with you all, but I also want to go with you to the very end. He looked at her, truly a bit puzzled. Why on earth are you so stubborn? Juju sighed. Emotan, I treat you as a friend. I don't ask for you to reciprocate. I only ask that you don't trample on other sincerity. Sincerity. He pondered these two words in his mouth. Somewhere inside there was a slight tremor in a flash, but it was immediately dismissed. The arrogance in his eyes became even more apparent. Where in the world is there such a thing as sincerity? Lang Juju covered her chest. Looking angry, young Master Mo, right now you're trampling on it. His face darkened as he turned around. In the future, if you encounter danger again, don't blame me for not warning you. Lang Juju put both hands on her hips, deliberately raising her voice very much like a little madam relying on someone's power to bully others. With Brother Lu protecting me, what do I have to fear? Emotan's figure stiffened, and he walked even faster, stepping onto this path. I'm not even afraid of you. Emotan, why would I be afraid of a long journey full of dangers? Ding! Task reminder. Mission 1. Finishing a quarter of the stage. Reward. Memory fragment. This item can help the challenger explore the main plot. A shiny glass fragment appeared in Lang Juju's hand. She held it up, looking left and right. This is a memory fragment? So perfunctory. Through the glass fragment, the clear blue sky turned grayish-black, as if faded by time. A mottled grayish-blue watercolor spread out, instantly enveloping Lang Juju. The scene inside showed everyone making way for Marquis Kang Y to arrive. Inside, a handsome young man was reading a book. Hearing a noise outside, he spoke up. Who is it? Come out at once. Little Emotan appeared with a surging evil aura, rushing forward to grab Marquis Kang Y by the neck. I have come to kill you. The glass fragment shattered afterward. What on earth was the fragment about? She had to find other fragments. That day, he forcefully took her to the market to gather information. Emotan asked, I sent you to investigate Princess Dongyung. What have you found out? Princess Dongyung, real name Lai Tung Man, is the daughter of the late emperor's favored concubine Tru, the current emperor's biological sister, and is extremely favored by the emperor. Lang Juju racked her brains recalling the plot in the original novel, but was interrupted by Emotan speaking. He sneered. Well, you said, what part of it is not known to everyone? Lang Juju angrily retorted. If you're so capable, tell me something new. Emotan said, wait here, I'll show you. He used sweet words to charm a group of aunties selling fish and fruits, his mouth sweetly calling them beautiful sisters. My friend wants to ask for some information. I wonder if you sisters could help me a bit? Do you dissatisfiedly grumbled. If you're asking for information, then ask. Why pull my shoulder? Emotan pushed her into the crowd, and when she turned around, he was nowhere to be seen. Those aunties, with their chests heaving, aggressively surrounded her, asking all sorts of things. How old is that young man with red lips and white teeth? Is he betrothed? Where did he go? Were you to him? By the time she played dumb and struggled to escape, her hair was a mess, and walking on the street, she looked very much like she had just been robbed. As for Emotan, he stood by the roadside, holding up a mirror from afar, smiling mischievously to let her see her own appearance. Moltang, Zubatstat, Lu Fat Y and Mo Dao were discussing matters inside the inn. Lu Fat Y said, in the afternoon, Dowager Consort True will take Princess Dongjung to Hung Tian Temple to worship Buddha. When the time comes, we will secretly follow them. Mo Tan sneered. Does Dowager Consort True think that holding a jade plaque of the Mo family means she can use us like soldiers? If she feels we're not fit to enter elegant places, why bother inviting us from afar? Atan, don't misunderstand. Lu Fat Y explained slowly. How can a concubine casually mobilize the Imperial Astronomy Bureau? It must be that she has encountered some difficult matter and wants to handle it secretly on her own, not wanting to alarm His Majesty. Mo Dao nodded. Getting straight to the point, I heard that Princess Dongjung, starting from her 18th birthday after returning from a visit to Hung Tian Temple, has been plagued by nightmares every night. It truly is a bit strange. Lu Fat Y asked, why did you come back alone? Where is Jiu? Mo Tan smiled. She went to ask for information about Princess Dongjung. What's wrong? Hasn't she come back yet? Enough, Atan. Lu Fat Y looked reproachful. Miss Lang doesn't have a secret signal, and she is unfamiliar with the people of Truangan. What if something happens to her? Hurry and go find her. Mo Tan said with disgust, got it. Even Mo Dao had noticed that there was something unusual between these two recently. Previously, they seemed to get along very well, but these past few days they were like a powder keg meeting a spark, mocking each other at the slightest provocation. As a result, the sharp-tongued Lang Du mostly gained the upper hand. As for Mo Tan, she seemed to have never seen him bully a girl so obviously. Lang Jiu sat bored in a corner. She started picking up a willow branch to draw pictures on the sand, and Mo Tan with a detestable face was born. She couldn't count on that vicious black lotus. She wondered if Brother Lu and the others would find her. A voice echoed from behind, ugly as hell. Ju looked up in surprise. Why is it you? Did you come here yourself? Mo Tan crossed his arms, his face expressionless. Let's go. Returning to the inn, the whole group sat down to eat. The roasted chicken in Truong and had long been famous. The chicken skin was fried to a crisp, fatty, but not greasy, wrapping into a thin outer layer separated from the chicken meat, making people drool. Unexpectedly, just as she touched the chicken, a voice suddenly rang out. Miss Lang, you've already eaten half a chicken. Looking up, she immediately saw Mo Tan's smiling face. Suddenly being called out like that, Lang Juju blushed. Along the way, aside from constantly causing trouble for Lu Fat Y to create a sense of presence, she would be eating on the side while the main characters tensely discussed the case. Although it was required by the plot, she truly felt the gazes of Mo Dao and Lu Fat Y both resting on her. She embarrassedly withdrew her hand. Mo Tan did not stop his chopsticks. He picked up a piece of golden, crispy chicken wing and gently placed it in her bowl. Why aren't you eating? I remember clearly that Miss Lang likes to eat chicken wings. The smile in his eyes was overflowing. Lang Jiu Fao Ho Sao Joking. Ever since Mo Tan advised her to decisively back out and was rejected, he tripped her up more and more smoothly. Lu Fat Y, on the other hand, was extremely happy. He patted her shoulder to encourage her. Juju, Atan picked it up for you to eat. Eat up quickly. He also pulled up the bewildered Mo Dao. Oh, let's go. Come with me to pay the bill. Mo Dao, not understanding what was going on, was dragged away by him. Lu Fat Y was smug because he successfully acted as the ultimate wingman pairing up this couple. Mo Tan quietly sat down beside her, glancing at her. Is it delicious? Being like this all along the way, aren't you bored? Lang Juju unhappily poked at the chicken wing. Isn't it just that I know another secret of yours? To be fair, I'll tell you one of mine. The young man's expression froze for a moment. Don't talk about your menstruation again. This time it's not menstruation. Lang Juju leaned close to him, her soft voice sounding by his ear. When I was 15, my chest measurement was only 2 chi 5. After 1 year, it it has grown a lot. Emotan's face flushed bright red as he looked down from her neck, naturally reflexively wanting to see a bit of how much grown a lot was. Unexpectedly, she suddenly covered her chest with both hands, hurriedly backed away from him, gave him a side eye, and said loudly, "Where are you looking?" Shameless. Not long after, whispering and pointing sound arose. "He looks quite handsome. To think he's a lecher. You can't judge a book by its cover. The more they look like that, the more." Exactly. Emotan acutely realized he had been played by the girl again. Did she have any sense of shame left at all? Clack! A burly man rushed over like a dark cloud. He took the sword from his waist and slammed it down on the table, shielding Lang Juju behind him, coldly glaring at Emotan. "Our Trong has very good public order. It's not for you to act like a hooligan here." Emotan looked at his finger, naturally reflexively wanting to see a bit of how much grown a lot was. Unexpectedly, she suddenly covered her chest with both hands, hurriedly backed away from him, gave him a side eye, and said loudly, "Where are you looking?" Shameless. Not long after, whispering and pointing sound arose. "He looks quite handsome. To think he's a lecher. You can't judge a book by its cover. The more they look like that, the more." Exactly. Emotan acutely realized he had been played by the girl again. Did she have any sense of shame left at all? Clack! A burly man rushed over like a dark cloud. He took the sword from his waist and slammed it down on the table, shielding Lang Juju behind him, coldly glaring at Emotan. "Our Trong has very good public order. It's not for you to act like a hooligan here." His dark eyes were almost catching fire. The burly man also flared up. "You still dare to glare at me?" Emotan coldly glanced at him, didn't reply, stood up, and looked behind the burly man, suppressing his anger as he said, "Lang Juju, come out." "Kid, don't be too arrogant." After saying that, he turned around to comfort Lang Juju. "Miss, don't be afraid. You just arrived here in an unfamiliar place, but we people of Truong and are all your fellow townsmen. Big brother, please stand up for me." Lang Juju burst out laughing in her heart. Poking her head out from behind the burly man's sturdy frame, she smiled sincerely and said, "Thank you, big brother, but you misunderstood. We're traveling together." He's just joking with me." "Really?" the burly man asked suspiciously. "Really? Lang Juju, not that?" The chivalrous and righteous stranger picked up his heavy sword and patted her shoulder comfortingly. As he walked away, he turned his head back 3 times for every step, cursing at Emotan each time he looked back. "You better watch out. One look, and I can tell you're full of bad intentions. Don't act arrogantly in Truongan. If I see you doing it again, I'll break your dog legs." Emotan watched expressionlessly as the fiercely attacking burly man walked away, then shifted his gaze to Lang Juju, who was standing to the side, trembling from holding back her laughter. Her face was extremely serious, her almond eyes full of innocence. "I really didn't expect the people of Truong and to be so enthusiastic. You are not a soft persimmon either. Finding an opportunity, you immediately strike back. Your purpose is unclear, unpredictable. Moreover, you are invulnerable to weapons. It's better to keep you close and observe." Emotan's expression constantly changed. Gritting his teeth, he turned around. "It's getting late. Let's go." The wisteria-colored skirt of the young girl behind him twirled like a blooming hibiscus flower. She continued to chatter. "That's right. If I reveal your secret, you can also tell everyone my secret. Hey, why are you walking so fast?" Scene transition. Dowager Consort True's carriage stopped in front of the temple gates. 2 palace maids in pale red dresses helped her out of the carriage. Dowager Consort True stood waiting for her daughter from afar. Seeing her walking over unhurriedly in a brightly colored, flowery outfit, she frowned. "Boy Van, how did you choose the princess's clothes?" Princess Donjung explained, "Mother, I have prayed to Buddha many times, but I still had nightmares yesterday." Dowager Consort True lowered her voice and said, "Mother has found solution. It's mostly because we were not sincere enough, which caused the Buddha to blame us. This time, Mother will donate 300 caddies of sesame oil money and personally kowtow to apologize. You will definitely not have nightmares anymore." Donjun was pulled inside by Dowager Consort True, after which a strong scent of sandalwood rushed into her face. The doors slowly closed behind her. Dowager Consort True tilted her head slightly, half of her face sinking into the shadows. Everyone wait at the door. Lu Fat Y toyed with the 9 profound demon-catching pagoda, revealing a thoughtful expression. Dower, do you sense any demonic aura? No. Mo Dao hesitated slightly. However, I don't think the princess will be plagued by nightmares for no reason. It's just that Dowager Consort True currently won't let us intervene directly. Our investigation is somewhat restricted. It's truly a difficult situation. Lu Fat Y advised, family scandals cannot be spread outside, let alone this being a royal secret. Here. The purple hem of her skirt trailed on the ground. Dowager Consort True's clasped hands trembled slightly. Her voice grew lower and lower, as if talking to herself. If you said I gave birth to a divine maiden, then it should be endless blessings. Why? Why bestow such hardship? She was panicked. Beside her, Dowager Consort True closed her eyes and knelt in place, muttering, this believer has followed the orders and offered up all my wealth. I beg the Buddha to bless my child with good health, no longer plagued by nightmares. Let the karma of my youth be avenged upon me alone. Those vicious people. Many images flashed through her mind. She suddenly opened her eyes, a ruthless determination flickering within them. All of them will go to hell and never be reincarnated. Finishing her prayer seemed to resolve a great anxiety. She breathed a sigh of relief and stood up, wiped her hands before the altar, lit 6 incense sticks, and placed them into the incense burner. Man, quickly bowed down. She hurriedly called out to Donjung. Amidst the strong scent of sandalwood, a soft calling vaguely reached her ears. Divine maiden, come with us quickly. A gust of wind blew past, feeling like a hand brushing down Donjung's spine. In an instant, her scalp went numb, and she immediately jumped up like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. Mother, do you hear it? Do you hear it? A voice struck Donjung's eardrums like a sound wave. Divine maiden, I have waited for you for a long time. Her face turned from red to pale, her teeth chattering. Only one thought remained in her mind. The nightmare. That nightmare had become real. Breathing became difficult, almost choking her. Fear enveloped her like an invisible hand. She was like a blind person desperately fleeing through a world of ice and snow, screaming tremblingly, I won't go. Don't call me. Don't call me. Man. Dowager Consort True saw Donjung suddenly screaming like a madwoman. My child, guards come quickly. Suddenly, a light, ethereal voice echoed in her ear, full of mockery and sarcasm, pouring in her ear like a bone-chilling wind. Believer True Tam knew. Did you pray to the wrong place? Dowager Consort True's face, flushed with anxiety, instantly turned deathly pale. She took 2 steps back, turning her head to look around in bewilderment. Don't call me. The princess's mournful screams grew weaker and weaker. She stumbled backward. The moment her soft body was about to fall, the main doors were suddenly pushed open from the outside. Immediately after, all the terrifying sounds ceased, leaving only the sound of cicadas chirping in the trees. Lu Fat Y steadily caught the princess. His indifferent gaze swept across the dark main hall, then stopped on Dowager Consort True's stunned face. Your Highness, he reminded her calmly, deliberately raising his voice. The princess has fainted from heat stroke. Do we need to call an imperial physician? Right. Dowager Consort True's chaotic breathing gradually calmed down. Her fingers twisted her handkerchief out of shape. She tremblingly reached out to fix her hair, regaining a bit of dignity. The princess has fainted from heat stroke. Guards, return to the palace. The temple is indeed a bit strange. Sorry to trouble you all. Mo Dao stared at her with clear eyes. Dowager Consort, there is no demonic aura in the temple. Dowager Consort True said sternly, impossible. Why is it impossible? A lazy voice rang out from behind everyone. Mo Tan, holding 6 half-burnt incense sticks in his hand, walked out from the shadows. With a look of disdain, he held them out in front of everyone. Did just a few sticks of hallucinogenic incense scare you all? Consort Doan was terrified. This face, how is it possible? He ignored Dowager Consort True's expression and bent down to lift the altar cloth. Juju, hurry up. Lang Juju crawled out from behind the altar, holding 2 bundles of incense in her hands. The incense that hasn't been burned is all here. Let's take it back and investigate. The spring water flowed over the rocks, making a babbling sound. The current split into branches, separating and then converging again, before rushing off into the distance. Lang Juju squatted on a large rock, shaking out the clothes in her hands. The wooden tub holding the clothes was gently pushed by the water, swaying and drifting. She nimbly reached out to grab it, pulling it to the side. So unlucky. Lang Juju, can be considered to have been pampered since childhood. I haven't even washed my own father's clothes. Yet here, I am washing clothes for the Black Lotus. Clothes. She looked at her reflection in the water, sighing heavily. After completing the mission, I must reward myself well, then go to the information department to complain about this garbage system. Emoton slowly squatted down, watching her intently, his eyes full of teasing. Miss Lang is truly unwilling. The sound of the flowing spring water was noisy all around. He was satisfied to see her expression turn from shock to fear. Lang Juju choked for a long time, her face flushing red. What did you say? Didn't hear clearly. He grabbed her collar and pulled her right in front of him. Their faces were extremely close, the tips of their noses almost touching. Lang Juju stared nervously at his lips. The two thin, rosy lips parted slightly, softly spewing out a stream of venom. I said, if you don't want to, then don't force yourself to pretend. Huh? She sneered, leaning her face back a little. You say that as if I don't have to wash them if I don't want to. Right now, we are in the Imperial Palace, with a whole bunch of palace maids waiting to serve you. You absolutely refuse to let them wash, insisting on torturing me. Do I have the ability to resist? I mind that they are clumsy, and thought that Miss Lang was pampered since childhood. His gaze stopped on her fair, white hands. Her fingers, like bamboo shoots, pressed against the black clothes, creating an extremely clear contrast. He paused for a moment. I just like hands that have been pampered since childhood, washing my clothes. Lang Juju was left speechless. After a long while, she accepted her fate and continued scrubbing the clothes. Fine, wash it is. Move aside, you're blocking my light. Emoton remained squatting on the rock, lazily watching her. Juju's hair was soft and smooth, obediently draping over her chest, gently swaying with her movements. His head suddenly felt dizzy. In his daze, some vague scenes rushed into his mind like snowflakes. In the courtyard, snow fluttered down. A few white snowflakes fell on her head, and many fell into the basin of water in front of her, not melting for a long time. Mother, are your hands cold? She looked up, revealing a smile that made everything else pale in comparison. Washing clothes for little Tanner is not cold. The world suddenly spun before his eyes. His body swayed, and then was supported by a hand. What's wrong? Can't even squat properly? Lang Juju hugged his waist in disgust. Her hands were wet and icy cold. She conveniently wiped the water suds onto him a couple of times, before quietly withdrawing her hands. Her sparkling eyes showed a hint of teasing. The tub wants to run away, the clothes want to drift away, and you want to fall over. I am a living octopus. Let's see if I can handle it all. His eyes flickered, avoiding the patch of snow-white skin below her collar. Emoton suddenly asked, are your hands cold? Lang Juju frowned, feeling it was strange. Not cold. Cold. It's summer. Playing with water is very cool. She pursed her lips and smiled, then continued coldly. If you dare make me wash clothes in winter. Hello. I will smash the tub over your head. Emoton didn't speak for a long time, sitting on the rock. Oh hat thai, motang. Lang Juju casually found something to talk to him about. Actually, your clothes are very easy to wash. This show-off changes clothes every day. The clothes he took off were almost completely clean, still carrying a faint scent of plum blossoms. That was the scent on his body. The Black Lotus even had to have the same scent as his sister. That's right, it's just that. Lang Juju lifted a piece up to show him. There's no dirt, but it's full of blood. She looked at him teasingly. Can you bleed less in the future? Bloodstains are much harder to wash than dirt. He was stunned, momentarily not knowing how to reply. Today, Lang Juju was particularly endearing. He didn't know if it was because she was holding his clothes and was tainted with his scent, or if the mist rising from the stream made her face appear softer. He lowered his eyes, just in time to see a transparent drop of water rolling down her hair. Watching as it was about to silently fall onto her skirt. As if possessed, he reached out and hurriedly caught it. The water drop fell into his palm, shattering into 8 petals, spreading along the lines of his palm, like a gentle kiss. He immediately snapped back to his senses, suddenly withdrawing his hand. Mission 2 progress notification. Congratulations to the host. The affection level of the target, Tan, has reached 30. That's right. After the plot in Tai Thuong County ended, Lang Du-Jiu received the system notification as she wished. Regarding the target's affection level, she would receive a notification every time it increased by 5. 1/4 of the journey had gained about 1/3 of the affection. She was quite delighted. However, as a rookie with no experience, she was like a blind person groping her way on this completely unfamiliar path. You know perfectly well that I intentionally made things difficult for you along the way. So why do you still listen to me? Lang Duju was stunned for a long time by his question. I said I would follow you guys to the end. If I backed down, just because you tormented me a bit, wouldn't that be too pathetic? Tan remained silent, only looking at her face under the sunlight. Her white hair ribbon fluttered in the wind, like a butterfly spreading its wings. In this quiet moment, they were just like the most ordinary boys and girls in the world, writing the story of their youthful first love. Lang Ju looked at him and smiled, her voice crisp and sweet. Carry the stuff. Let me ask you too, did you feel very happy tormenting me like that? Along the way, I saw you having fun playing around, and I felt happy too. Tan's expression instantly darkened, and he turned around to leave. Nonsense. Lang Ju stopped in her tracks. Oh no, I said the wrong thing again. A ding sounded in her head. Mission 2 progress notification. Congratulations to the host. The affection level of the target, Tan, has reached 35. Please continue to work hard. Ju was puzzled. It actually increased. Tan's thoughts were truly hard to predict. At the princess's bedchamber, Princess Donjung's ears were wrapped in bandages, looking a bit comical, her unblinking eyes gazing into the distance. She pulled her hands back and hugged them to her chest, a smile appearing at the corners of her mouth. Boy Van, did you clearly see his appearance? Princess, I have grown this big, yet I have never seen anyone so handsome and free-spirited in the capital. Her voice trailed off, a flickering light in her eyes, indistinguishable between joy or sorrow. Boy Van's face showed some hesitation. But, Princess, that young master is a demon-catching Taoist from the martial world. So what if he is a Taoist from the martial world? A hint of displeasure flashed across Princess Donjung's brows. Then she smiled again. He is my lifesaver. Does a mother also highly regard him? I think he is much braver than those young masters from noble families. If he could stay in Truong, and his future would definitely be boundless. Boy Vu, who was combing a very tight hair bun, interjected. Can young Master Lu really stay in Truong? And this servant saw a female martial artist in white beside him. It seems they are traveling together. Boy Vu glanced at her expression, rolled her eyes slightly, and continued with a smile. The princess is right. They must have just come together. Moreover, what woman in this world can compare to our princess? The corners of Princess Donjung's mouth couldn't help but curl up. Boy Van, you may step down. Let Boy Vu take over. Princess Donjung looked at the bandages on her ears with some displeasure. Boy Van was good at everything, but she was too boring and a buzzkill. Boy Vu pursed her lips into a smile. After all, Sister Boy Van used to be the Emperor's person, so her way of speaking and acting will naturally resemble the Emperor's. Princess Donjung frowned slightly, her expression turning from sunny to gloomy. Imperial brother has never liked me. Even his servant puts on airs with me. It's truly stifling. She stood up. I heard Mother is meeting him in the reception hall. What a coincidence. This princess will also take the opportunity to meet my lifesaver. The grand hall was unusually quiet. A burly man was kneeling on the ground, kowtowing in panic. It is all because your subordinate's information was not well informed. If I had known earlier that these individuals were sent by the Empress Dowager, your subordinate should have made arrangements. Dowager Consort True said, stop playing the fool. Do you still not understand in your heart why I called you here? What exactly happened with the temple's incense? Luke Q, you are a professional incense master. Speak quickly. Luke Q clenched his hands into fists. Reporting to your highness, this incense is premium sandalwood. Quach 2 wiped his tears. Your highness, this subject knows you wholeheartedly revere Buddha. How would I dare to do such a thing? Dowager Consort True called upon Imperial Physician Tram. Imperial Physician Tram reported, Your Highness, this indeed contains a mixture of sedative and hallucinogenic herbs. Dowager Consort True's eyebrows almost twisted together, her expression extremely complex, as she shouted, Quach 2, I paved the way for you to smoothly reach this position, and this is how you repay me? Quach 2 still tried to defend himself. That's impossible. This subject is deeply wrong. M.O. Dao then asked Mr. Luke, You are the most famous incense master in this Truong city. Could it be that you couldn't tell that this incense is mixed with human ashes? Mr. Luke was confused. What ashes? Panic flashed in Dowager Consort True's eyes. She suddenly slammed the table, her sharp voice almost cracking. Quach 2, you were so audacious. Quach 2 was extremely terrified, almost collapsing to the ground. He opened his mouth to speak, but as soon as he looked up, his mouth fell open, and he immediately couldn't control himself, crying until his tears flowed profusely. Aunt, save me. I really don't know anything. I was greedy for wealth and riches, but since I was young, I've even been afraid to kill a chicken. How would I dare to kill a person? I got this batch of incense from a merchant named Lai Chuan at Kindung Mountain outside Truong City. At the time, I was just greedy for a cheap price. I didn't expect there to be such a hidden secret inside. Lu Fat Y and M.O. Dao exchanged glances and nodded. Sandalwood mixed with so much human ash, with no clear motive, was truly rare. There was definitely an inside story to this matter. M.O. Dao's expression was serious. Please allow us to investigate Lai Chuan, Your Highness. Dowager Consort True originally did not want to stir up more trouble, but since she was the one who brought the matter up, she had to feign weakness and wave her hand, letting Quach 2 stand up. I suppose you wouldn't have the guts either. Whatever you know, quickly report it to the two Taoists. Princess Duanzung Litsteng Atten TV. Dowager Consort True, with sharp eyes, saw her daughter hovering at the door from afar and called out, Man, what are you doing standing there? Why don't you come in quickly? Princess Duanzung Dzet Got Gao Wanka In. As she approached Lu Fat Y, her heart pounded. She glanced at him, then tried her best to bow gently. Mother. The princess had a strong scent of incense on her body after bathing. Dowager Consort True's gaze swept over the delicate flower on her head, her heart skipping a beat, having a bad premonition. Your body hasn't fully recovered yet. Why did you run out? Princess Don Jung turned around, revealing a face as bright and beautiful as the sunset glow, and she bowed gracefully to Lu Fat Y. I am here to thank the Taoists for saving my life. Lu Fat Y smiled and bowed back. The princess does not need to stand on ceremony. Eliminating demons and defending the Tao is our duty. We will go to investigate the place. We ask to take our leave first. Your daughter has arrived in Truong and is temporarily staying in the palace. Food and drink are fully provided. Father need not worry. Lang Ju chewed on her pen, thinking for a long time before adding. The hot weather affects my appetite. I've lost a few pounds recently, but I am very happy. All right, the brown sugar steamed buns are delicious. Please reward our family's chef heavily. While she was thinking, Emotan approached and peeked. Writing a letter? Lang Jiu suddenly turned her head, catching Emotan's face before he could pull back. You really are. Why are you peeking at someone else writing a letter? Emotan sneered, took 2 steps back, and leisurely sat down on a chair, crossing his long legs. I wondered who you were writing to. Turns out it's for your father. So what if I write to my father? Lang Jiu shot him a puzzled look. I've been away from home for 3 months with no news. He must be at home wiping his tears. Emotan tilted his head to look out the window, the sunlight casting the shadow of the window lattice on his face. I truly didn't expect Miss Lang to be someone so reluctant to be away from home. Thanks. Lang Jiu deliberately ignored his mocking tone. She stuffed the letter into the envelope, glanced at Emotan's face, and smiled, twisting the knife. Do you also often write letters home? Knowing he lacked family affection, she poked at him a bit in her free time, letting the black lotus feel some pain. Emotan looked as if he felt nothing. He twisted the demon-catching bracelet on his left wrist and replied indifferently. I've seen sister write. However, she doesn't write like you do. You asked why. Emotan explained. It starts with dear respected parents and ends with your daughter, M.O. Dow kneels to report. In between, she certainly wouldn't write anything about brown sugar steam buns. Lang Jiu Gao Get Sop Di. Your family has strict upbringing. Unlike me and my father, were used to not distinguishing between senior and junior. Mo Tan slightly curled the corners of his mouth, a half-smile appearing on his face, an expression that seemed both mocking and envious. Ju moved her chair closer to him. Have you never written one? Mo Tan hesitated for a moment and frowned. Write a letter to Mo Hai Jong and Bakan? Mo Tan Sna. I don't miss them, and they don't miss me. Isn't it enough that sister writes letters? Although he sat in the chair with a lazy posture, his whole body was still filled with vigilance, taut as a bowstring. Besides family law, what else did they leave for me? His dark eyes shifted slightly, caressing the hair ribbon on his head, and he suddenly smiled and said, I almost forgot there's also this. Lang Juju looked up and said in surprise, This hair ribbon was given to you by Sister Mo's mother. Bak can embroidered it herself. Lang Juju turned her head to observe him. Mo Tan always tied his hair, and this white hair ribbon almost never left his person. If he cherished the hair ribbon given by his adoptive mother this much, it seemed the relationship between the two of them wasn't too bad. It seems Sister Mo's mother treated you quite well. Mo Tan did not answer, a mocking smile flashing across his face. He tapped his finger on the table. How do you plan to send the letter? Lang Juju tucked the envelope in her chest. I've already asked around. There is a high-ranking official about to go to Jongnam to take up his post, and I can ask his entourage to help deliver it. Today they will board a boat and depart from the southern outskirts of the city. She muttered, high mountains and long rivers. Even sending a letter is so troublesome. She carefully wrapped 2 pieces of pastry in a small bundle, using her eyes to inquire of Mo Tan. Hey, is this enough? The young man frowned at her. Why ask me? Lang Juju asked back, aren't you going with me? Why should I go with you? For a moment, mockery appeared in his eyes. Ah, is Miss Lang afraid of getting lost? Lang Juju accepted his mockery, her distinct black and white almond eyes twinkling with laughter, neither denying nor refuting. That's right. Lang Juju knew most of the plot well. The original owner's seemingly unintentional act of sending a letter led to endless storms in the later chapters. From a certain perspective, as an NPC, she could not shirk the responsibility of driving the plot forward. She tied the small bundle tightly and skillfully slung it over her body. Sister Mo said earlier that we should split into 2 directions to investigate the case. She and Brother Lu have been busy for so many days. It's not very good for the 2 of us to idle away in the room all day. Mo Tan narrowed his eyes. You plan to investigate the case along the way? Lang Juju's face was full of sincerity. It's so hot outside. If we don't go, Sister Mo will have to rush about. Do you have a heart letter? Luke Q had been in Lu Noyet Palace for 2 hours. His back was already drenched. On the way out of the palace, although his footsteps were still a bit unsteady, they were much lighter than before. He lowered his head, letting Mo Dao walk slightly ahead, but Mo Dao slowed her pace, intentionally walking shoulder to shoulder with him. Mo Dao looked at him for a long time before speaking, her tone revealing neither joy nor anger. It's right for you to play it safe, Mr. Luke, but you must absolutely have a clear conscience. Luke Q suddenly stopped, his body trembling slightly, and hurriedly lowered his voice. Miss Mo, this matter is too complicated. I advise you not to investigate any further. A hint of doubt flashed across Mo Dao's brows. She said calmly, what does Mr. Luke mean? Luke Q hesitated for a moment, sighed, and said, we merchants make friends everywhere and know a lot of news. He gritted his teeth, lowering his voice. Daoist Mo, you've been to the Royal Hung Tien Temple. What do you think of that place? Majestic and vast. Mo Dao pondered for a moment. But I have some doubts. I don't know much about feng shui, but I remember clearly the principle that the back of the grand hall must lean against a mountain. Hung Tien Temple is so close to the inner city, surrounded by empty land, it seems a bit improper. Luke Q shook his head and sighed. You are not wrong. Regarding feng shui, a temple should be built on the Z mountain facing the Wu direction, sitting on the void line. Only then can it jump out of the 3 realms and not be within the 5 elements. When Hung Tien Temple was first built, the Taoists chose over and over again before finding the most suitable place, which was leaning against the mountain. The reason you find it strange is because Dowager Consort True has been worshipping Buddha for over 10 years. The Hung Tien Temple from 10 years ago is not the temple you all see now. The harsh sunlight shone on the lush tree canopies, creating coin-like spots of light on the ground. Lang Juju and Mo Tan jumped off their horses, hurriedly hiding under the shade of the trees, their necks exposed to the sun until they burned with pain, their whole bodies steaming. Lang Juju leaned against a tree trunk, gulping down half a water skin, but spilling a lot. The water flowed down her neck in her light purple lapel. Lang Juju was greedy for the cold. Her upper garment was woven from ice silk, faintly revealing the small halter strap on her neck. After being soaked in water, the strap became even more alluring, standing out against her fair skin. The contrasting beauty was like a small snake burrowing straight into one's heart. Emotan looked at it, getting annoyed. "Is your mouth a water clock?" The young girl then stopped in embarrassment, wiping her mouth and saying, "Sorry." Before she even finished speaking, her embarrassment vanished. She observed him from top to bottom for a while, then asked in surprise, "Why aren't you hot at all?" Emotan sneered, completely not wanting to pay attention to her, turned around and walked away. Lang Juju immediately followed closely behind him. "Want some water?" He hesitated for a moment, turned around to take it, tilted his head back to drink, and suddenly felt Lang Juju's gaze intently watching his face. His long eyelashes fluttered slightly, looking into her eyes. "What are you looking at me for?" Lang Juju was so hot that her cheeks were flushed. She slightly narrowed her eyes, reflecting fragmented light in her eyes. Learning a bit how to drink water without spilling. Emotan turned around to drink water. After finishing, he returned the water skin to Lang Juju. Lang Juju touched it and immediately pulled her hand back. Too hot, too hot. He didn't quite understand why the young woman next to him suddenly looked like a dehydrated plant, limp and withered, as if her vitality had been drained, especially when she accidentally touched his clothes. She immediately dodged to the side as if bitten by someone. For a moment, he couldn't help but pull her over, his gaze darkening. "What are you hiding from? Touch yourself and see." Lang Juju, with a miserable face, held Emotan's hand and touched the lapel on his chest. The black lapel had been baked scorching hot by the sun. Emotan's face darkened. He silently loosened the ties on his wrists, rolled up his sleeves to his elbows, revealing snow-white arms, seemingly unconvinced, gesturing for her to touch. Lang Juju was startled by this action, not daring to disrespect the Black Lotus. She reached out and carefully touched it, immediately widening her eyes. She exclaimed in astonishment, "Truly ice muscles and jade bones. So cool." In this weather, whoever was cold was the boss. She instinctively moved closer, her light silk clothes gently brushing against his skin, her hot hands continuously stroking his arm, her whole body happily clinging to him, carrying a faint fragrance. The young man's senses suddenly became extremely sensitive. Unable to bear it, he immediately rolled down his sleeves. Can't Miss Lang be a bit more reserved? If he were a cat, he would have been petted ball by her by now. This person was unusually thick-skinned. A second ago, she was avoiding him like the plague. A second later, she treated him like a human-shaped ice block. She didn't just touch. Looking at her, she seemed ready to hug him right away. Lang Juju, reading his expression, shrank to the side, muttering, "Didn't young Master Mo tell me to touch?" "What? All right, I won't touch then. Stingy." Lang Juju waved her hand to call a truce. She didn't even have the energy to argue with him. After taking 2 steps, she couldn't help but ask cautiously, "Emotan, how much longer until we arrive?" "Arrive where?" He sneered. "We aren't going back at all. We've been heading south." "What?" Lang Juju almost collapsed. She turned her head to look around. "Are you sure? I see the same thing all around." The young man curled his lips, his eyelashes full of mockery, leaning close to her ear and speaking softly. Stepping out the door, those who die dazed and confused in a strange land are usually those with no sense of direction. Lang Juju was angry but dared not speak. She kept pursing her lips, looking confused and helpless. "This place is desolate and uninhabited. Are we heading to Tai Phuong?" "Mo Tang." He turned back, seeing the gentle breeze blowing her thin skirt and strands of hair. She looked towards the other side of the hillside, pointing at a patch of shadow in the distance, hidden among the weeds. "Look." The weeds fluttered in the wind. Mountains connected like black shadows, reaching towards the sky. At the foot of the mountains was a blood-red sun piercing straight through the dome. Beneath the dome was a different color. The ancient cypress trees touching the sky were like the ferocious claws of demons. Gray railings and city walls were enveloped in a vast expanse of fog. Lang Juju hesitantly turned her head to look at Emotan. "Are we back at Hung Tien Temple?" Lang Juju couldn't help but frown. How is this possible? It's too bizarre. The sky became strangely gloomy. Dark clouds obscured the sun. Light and shadow chased each other. Lang Jiu shifted an inch towards him. This isn't the Hung Tien temple we went to before, right? The young man slightly curled the corners of his mouth, his pitch-black pupils under his eyelashes. Very smart, however. His smile deepened, suddenly turning into sarcasm. With so many large mountains suddenly appearing, you still needed to distinguish it by 2 lines of words. The closer they got to Hung Tien Temple, the gloomier the sky became. The wind blew harder and harder, sweeping away fallen leaves and dust, gradually seeming to blow away even bones. Lang Jiu kept looking up at the sky. The sky had turned a dark yellow, blurry and unclear. In the distance, the shadows of trees swayed violently, making rustling sounds. Hey, she reminded softly, it looks like a sandstorm. Can we find a place to hide for a bit? Emotan, what are you looking at? After asking, Lang Jiu bent over and coughed, her knuckles tightening. Making him step forward, he lowered his eyelashes. Sand flew into my eyes, not your throat. What are you going crazy for? Lang Jiu rubbed her eyes and stood up straight, her almond eyes as red as a rabbit's. Well, you know, my father taught me that doing this can push the sand out of the eyes. She stretched her face forward as if showing off. Here, look. He took the opportunity to pinch Lang Jiu's cheek, ignoring her struggles and looking closely for a while. Beneath her big black eyes, the bottoms of her eyes were pink as if about to drip blood. Yet there was an indescribable, sickly beauty. So fragile. He looked at her in a daze, getting red so easily. The sandstorm grew increasingly fierce, both of their hair covered in dust. Lang Jiu saw Emotan looking at her motionlessly. You still dare to open your eyes so wide. She was furious. Aren't you afraid of sand flying into your eyes? Before she could finish her sentence, he let go of his hand, suddenly shutting his eyes tightly. She instantly froze like a picture. Truly, speak of the devil. Don't move. Lang Jiu carefully patted his shoulder to comfort him. You sit down first. Lang Jiu started to take pleasure in his misfortune. Young Master Emo, will you cough it out yourself, or let me help you blow it? Emotan raised his head without saying a word. Adorned by his long eyelashes, the young man's face was so gentle that one couldn't bear to bully him. All right, then bear with it a bit. Lang Jiu took a deep breath, gently holding his face. His cold yet warm face made her heart suddenly race. What are you waiting for? After waiting a moment and not seeing her move, he suddenly forced his eyes open, his glossy pupils quietly looking at her. There seemed to be starlight in his eyes, the bottoms of his eyes flushed red. His tone, however, was indifferent and unhappy, truly unreliable. Lang Jiu let go of her hands in fright, stepped back and frowned. Your eyes are so red. A hint of pity flashed in her eyes, like a ray of light unexpectedly piercing his chest. His hand twitched, but was worriedly grabbed by her. Don't rub, she instructed seriously. It will hurt your eyes. Cry quickly. Use your tears to wash it out. Tears. The sand rolling in his eyes felt as if it wanted to turn into pearls. His eye sockets were extremely dry. He was born without tears, even though his eyes were like autumn lakes, brimming with mist all year round. But the mist was the most illusory existence. It was like flowers in a mirror, the moon in the water, just like his beautiful but false exterior. What did tears taste like anyway? While he was lost in thought, the young girl suddenly held his face. Her face drew near, bringing a faint jasmine scent from her hair, a softness that only blew away 2 or 3 fine hairs. A cool breeze blew into his eyes, and he instinctively closed them. That rare gentleness left as quickly as the receding tide. She withdrew her concern as if to avoid misunderstanding. Motang. When he opened his eyes, she had already stepped back 3 paces, slightly pursing her lips, tilting her head a bit nervously and asking, "Is it better?" The sandstorm was still raging. He sat quietly by the dirt road, the tips of his hair swaying in the wind. "Come here, sit behind me." Lang Jiu looked at him for a long time. The dignified Black Lotus probably wouldn't be embarrassed by a small grain of sand. So she nodded, feeling relieved to hide behind his back. The whirlwind swayed from left to right, like a giant sky-covering worm, twisting its body and struggling. After a while, it darted into Emotan's embrace. Her vision suddenly brightened, as if a blindfold had just been removed. The trees that were being blown loudly instantly became calm. Looking at the clear sky, Lang Ju was shocked by the Black Lotus's fighting power. In this world with Mo Tan, the god of thunder and mother of lightning would both be unemployed. She curiously poked her head over his shoulder. You have such a formidable magic weapon. Why didn't you take it out earlier, just now? 2 talismans so. The sandstorm just now was caused by the old talisman underneath playing tricks. Mo Tan explained that this was a seal, and moreover, only the first layer. This type of seal is intended to prevent people from entering and exiting and to suppress ghosts and gods. The corners of his mouth twitched slightly, his expression dark and unclear. This is my family's sealing talisman. A talisman? The Mo family's sealing talisman? Hearing this, Lang Ju felt a chill down her spine. This talisman looks quite old. Could it be that Dowager Consort True is hiding something? Many years ago, she summoned people from the Mo family. The sunlight shone on the warmthless smile on Mo Tan's face. How interesting. Mo Hai Zhang and Bot can once join forces to seal Hung Tien Temple in this wasteland. Lang Ju carefully looked at the mirage-like architecture. There was no one inside or out, overgrown with wild grass. It looked like a ghost realm no matter how you looked at it. This was indeed Hung Tien Temple. Mo Tan sneered, backed by a mountain, built on the Ziwu axis, sitting on the void line, jumping out of the 3 realms, not within the 5 elements. This is the real Hung Tien Temple. In Princess Donjung's palace, she was lying down while Boy Vu massaged her. Your Highness, why do you still keep her by your side? This servant saw with her own eyes Sister Boy Van colluding with eunuchs outside the palace, leading you and that young master loose separately. Boy Vu's indignant voice was very loud. Donjung immediately shushed her, then sneered. It's not time yet. Wait until I catch her red-handed. Let's see how she denies it. How have I mistreated her over the past 5 years? Such an ungrateful wretch. Although Boy Vu was young, her hands were strong. Applying just the right amount of pressure to massage Donjung's shoulders, she made her narrow her eyes, her tone also softening. That day, did you see me and young Master Lu talking? Boy Vu smiled sweetly. This servant saw. Truly a match made in heaven. He knows so many things that I don't. He is the most gentle and courteous person I have ever met. Princess Donjung's mouth had just curled up when it drooped down. It's just a pity that there is always someone by his side, always accompanying him. I invited him to stroll in the garden with me, but he didn't agree. Boy Vu's massage made her entire body relax. Drowsiness hit her, and she couldn't help but yawn. Did the princess not sleep well last night? Fortunately, there's still quite a lot of incense left from what Boy Van used before. Princess, please go to bed and lie down for a while. Let this servant light it for you. Light it. Duanjung an suo da zhang. Boy Vu opened the paper bag, broke off a piece, placed it in the incense burner, and then lit it. A faint fragrance wafted out. Princess, what do you think of this soothing incense? She turned her head. Donjung had fallen asleep. There was no answer. In the darkness, Boy Vu stared at Donjung's sleeping face for a long time. Lang Ju and Mo Tan returned and recounted the events. Mo Dao frowned slightly. If you have found Hung Tien Temple in the southern outskirts, then it proves that what Luke Q said was not wrong. At least it's not all guesswork. There is something strange about this. If they wanted to hide or seal something, such a large temple abandoned in the outskirts, it's impossible to just leave it there without dealing with it. Lu Fat Wai lifted his robe and sat down, hitting the nail on the head. And Mo Tan replied, that place is very remote, surrounded by overgrown weeds. Without looking closely, it's very hard to discover. Lang Ju observed his expression and realized that Mo Tan was deliberately hiding the matter of the Mo family seal. She thought for a moment, then nodded and said, that road has very few people. Even if someone saw that grand hall, most would think it was a mirage and wouldn't risk investigating it. The words of those two naturally couldn't convince Mo Dao. She immediately decided, Tan, tomorrow you lead the way. I will go see it for myself. No. Mo Tan's expression changed instantly. It's too dangerous. Sister cannot go. Mo Dao curled her lips, her eyes revealing a teasing smile. Didn't you just say it was only a bit remote? Mo Tan slightly rolled his glossy eyes, pretending to be hesitant and innocent. Brother Lu's words make a lot of sense. What if there's a seal there? We left in a hurry that day. What if we didn't discover it? All right. Lu Fat Wai found it amusing. Sister thanks you. Ju was in awe. This Black Lotus was truly formidable. His acting was so good, making his sister happy in an instant. With a creak, the door was pushed open, and and the noisy sound of cicadas immediately flooded into the room. A eunuch wearing a brand new dark blue official robe stood holding a whisk, followed by two maids with double bun hairstyles. The old eunuch stepped over the threshold, walked straight toward Emoton, smiling until his face was full of wrinkles. "Young Master Emo, Dowager Consort invites you to the front hall for wine." Emoton narrowed his eyes slightly, turning his head to look at the three bewildered people. "Only him? Only calling me? Eton, you go." Before Emoton could say anything, Lu Fatwai had already decided for him. He suddenly, without warning, reached out and pushed Lang Juju hard. Smiling with an undeniable tone, "Juju, you go too." Unexpectedly pushed hard, Juju crashed into Emoton's arms, making him blush once again. Under the dazzling sunlight, a group of young palace maids walked over, wearing colorful clothes, laughing and talking. "Look quickly, it flies so high. Let me try playing once." A bamboo dragonfly fell at Emoton's feet. He let out an "Oh." "There are bamboo dragonflies in the Imperial Palace too?" Eunuch 2 looked like he wanted to eat someone alive, crying out "not good" inwardly, and immediately led everyone to kneel to the side, all keeping their mouths shut. "Who threw things around?" Emoton lowered his eyelashes, looking at the toy in his hand. It was a bamboo dragonfly, small and rough. Eunuch 2 observed his expression and, seeing that he didn't seem difficult about being offended, hastily let out a sigh of relief. "They are all mischievous children from the folk. They don't understand the rules." Reaching out to return the bamboo dragonfly to him. "It's fine." Eunuch 2 casually tossed it aside, then turned around and smiled at Emoton. "Young Master Mo, please go this way. Be careful not to delay the time." Emoton glanced at him without saying a word. Lang Juju noticed that Emoton's complexion was getting worse and worse. Was it her imagination? "What's wrong with you?" Lang Juju Emoton suddenly bent over, instantly scaring Eunuch 2 into a fluster. "Oh my, young Master Emo, what is this?" Lang Juju was also frightened and hurriedly supported Emoton. He slowly stood up, his face as pale as a sheet of paper, his black eyes glistening with water like a mist-covered lake, his lips entirely bloodless. Forcing a smile, he said, "I'm truly sorry. I suddenly feel unwell. I'm afraid I cannot go to meet Her Highness." Eunuch 2 was scared into a cold sweat. Looking at his appearance, it was more than just unwell. It felt like he would pass away in the next second. His tongue also twisted up. "Young Master Mo, quickly go back to rest. I will go back and report to Her Highness. That will do." The young man smiled faintly, his appearance of trying to endure looking particularly pitiful. "Old illness. Juju knows what to do. Just going back to lie down for a bit will be fine." Saying that, his gaze lightly swept across Lang Juju's face. Lang Juju, who was dazed, was swept by his gaze and immediately hugged Emoton like a mother hen protecting her chick, dodging Eunuch 2's hand, and firmly said, "I will take him back. You quickly go back and report to Her Highness." Eunuch 2 shouted loudly, scaring the palace maids. "Why aren't you hurrying to call the imperial physician?" Then he turned to say to Emoton, "Young Master Emo, please rest well. We will take our leave first." Emoton still leaned limply in Juju's arms. Seeing that the people had left, she lowered her voice and asked, "What trick are you playing again?" "Umph." Emoton sneered, chanting a spell to loosen the demon-taming ring on his wrist. His fair wrist had been squeezed until a bruise appeared, and his face began to regain its color. Seeing this, Lang Juju was terrified. "Your way of faking illness is truly unique. Help me back to rest." Emoton closed